Chapter 24-27. Death. 1. Just as Mu Ziying finished her warning, shocked cries could be heard from the Flying Star Academy team following behind them. In an instant, the Flying Star Academy team fled toward them like a bunch of lunatics. Monster! Monster! One of the Flying Star Academy teenagers was clearly terrified. His face was pale as he sprinted forward. Yi Qingtang and the others turned to see a massive black shadow rapidly approaching them. Before they could get a good look, Lu Yuanxiang's face paled as if he detected something. Yes, our monster looks something like that. Teacher Yi, we have to escape now. Lu Yuanxiang was unable to see the monster clearly, but that oppressive aura was very familiar. That black figure gave him a feeling that was very similar to the monster that first attacked them, yet somewhat different. It was yet another above Emperor-level monster coming toward them. No one expected the sudden appearance of this monster. Without any hesitation, Yi Qingtang led her group to escape. Even she would not be able to handle an above Emperor-level monster. Lu Yuanxiang's team was seriously injured and could not move fast. Lei Yan and the others each carried one of them, and fled together with the Flying Star Academy folks. But even though they tried their best, the distance between the black figure and them narrowed continuously. The ground beneath their feet vibrated constantly as a fierce wind blasted their ears. They felt like their eardrums were going to burst. Did you have a clear look at that thing? Yi Qingtang asked when she caught up with the Flying Star Academy teacher. The teacher looked extremely grim as he instinctively nodded, but then he shook his head. No, I didn't have a good look. That thing was too big. We couldn't see its full body. I just remember, it was all black, and it looked like it was covered by multiple worms. The Flying Star Academy teacher shuddered at the memory. That thing looked like it was created by countless long, black worms entangled together. Those black worms were still wriggling, and just the sight of it made one feel like throwing up. Yi Qingtang furrowed her brows slightly. Going by what he described, it was a different monster from the one Lu Yuanxiang's team encountered. Yi Qingtang tried to make use of the dense forest to shake off the monster, but the monster was too large, and its height far surpassed the tops of the trees in the Wailing Well. From its high vantage point, it could see the direction they were fleeing. Even more startling to Yi Qingtang was the fact that that monster kept pursuing them without any intention of leaving. Why? Yi Qingtang found this very strange. Lu Yuanxiang's team suffered grievous injuries because they happened to be at the spot where the monster burrowed out of the ground. Although the monster attacked them then, it did not pursue them after they fled. But this monster behind them seemed to treat them as prey, chasing them relentlessly. Furthermore, Yi Qingtang realized that the Flying Star Academy team was the first to encounter this monster. Although they didn't get a full look at it, the teacher still managed to see the worms on its body. It could be deduced how close they must have been. Chapter 24-28. Death 2. The monster was above Emperor level, and with that close distance, the Flying Star Academy folks should not have been able to flee. But the monster didn't kill them then. Why? Yi Qingtang just felt that something was not quite right, and she glanced at those behind. Lei Yan and the others were carrying Lu Yuanxiang and his team. Even with the extra baggage, they were not slowed down as they held Divine Lord level abilities. But the distance between them and the monster was not wide enough. It would soon catch up with them. Once that happened, the monster's above Emperor level power was not something they could hold themselves against. Split up, Yi Qingtang suddenly ordered. Lei Yan and his group were stunned. Split up. Yi Qingtang felt that this monster had already latched onto them as targets. Unable to defend themselves, they could only try their best to ensure as many survivors as possible. The teenagers were completely frenzied now. Unable to think clearly for themselves, they instinctively followed Yi Qing's orders. This was like all past incidents. Their boss would never issue a wrong command. The group immediately split up, and the monster behind them chose its target. Yi Qingtang saw the distance between the monster and her narrowing. A bitter smile tugged at the corners of her lips. It looked like her conjecture was right. This monster was targeting a certain person in the group, and she was the lucky chosen one. Yi Qingtang had no idea why this monster would choose to pursue her, but she heaved a sigh of relief. At least her brats would be safe. Yi Qingtang soon detected a powerful force coming at her from behind. A massive black shadow completely engulfed her, and a gigantic monster appeared behind Yi Qingtang. As the Flying Star Academy teacher said, that monster was beyond descriptive words. It was made up of countless black worms entangled together and wriggling endlessly. It looked like a mass of worms stuck together. I am so lucky. Yi Qingtang looked at the monster behind her. She could already feel the powerful aura exuded by it. It was far beyond her own level. An above-emperor-level existence was able to crush her within seconds. Since Yi Qingtang had been reborn, she had imagined all the different ways she might die. But she never imagined dying with this false identity, and in such a strange place. She had never seen such a monster before, and didn't know how to handle it. As stipulated by the rules, she had left all her special artifacts outside the Wailing Well. She didn't even have her mirror of illusions with her. Now, it seemed like certain death was near. The massive monster expanded non-stop as if it wanted to swallow the entire area. Suddenly, a blood-colored hole opened in the monster, and black fangs lined the blood-red hole. It was the monster's mouth. A black shadow shot out of its jaws. The black shadow was very powerful. All vegetation it made contact with instantly turned to ashes. It was too fast. Yi Qingtang was able to see the black shadow rushing toward her, but her body had no time to react. She was doomed. Chapter 24-29, Death 3. Yi Qingtang's heart sank. But just as the black shadow approached Yi Qingtang, a chilly feeling suddenly arose from her wrist area. Multiple streams of black mist surged out from her wrist. Within seconds, the black mist clashed with the black shadow from the monster. As the mist swirled around, Yi Qingtang could smell a thick evil stench, as well as the faint wails of malicious ghosts. In the next second, the black shadow looked like it had been destroyed by the black mist. It disappeared without a trace. The black mist also gradually dissipated. Yi Qingtang could vaguely see a blurred figure inside the black mist. Before it completely dissipated, it bowed at her before vanishing. Crack. A cracking sound rang out from Yi Qingtang's wrist. It was like something had broken. Yi Qingtang looked down and saw her 9 souls ring falling to the ground in pieces. 9 souls ring. This was something that Yi Qingtang had inadvertently placed on her wrist while in the Temple of Shadows. The 9 souls ring became invisible after being worn, and Yi Qingtang had forgotten about its existence. This was a precious artifact left behind by the Holy Lord of Shadows. Yi Qingtang never expected the long-forgotten 9 souls ring to save her life at such a crucial moment. Able to withstand the attack of an above-emperor-level monster, it could be inferred just how powerful the 9 souls ring was. Even so, the 9 souls ring was now broken, and Yi Qingtang had lost this life-preserving trump card. Taking advantage of the impasse, Yi Qingtang poured all her energy and focus into her legs, just wishing to escape from this massive monster. But an above-emperor-level power was not something which Yi Qingtang could run from. Within seconds, the monster appeared in front of Yi Qingtang. Countless black shadows shot out of its open maw toward Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang's eyes reflected the countless black shadows, all looking like they wanted to completely tear her apart. Shock was the only thing she could feel. It was as if she could feel the approach of imminent death, and her blood seemed to freeze. Boom! A loud boom rang out as the countless black shadows landed. All the vegetation in the area where Yi Qingtang stood was disintegrated. A massive black hole appeared. Several figures standing not far off stiffened. Boss! Lei Yan and his group had split up per Yi Qing's instructions. But halfway, they realized that the monster was not pursuing them anymore. Instead, it headed in Yi Qing's direction. Almost simultaneously, they realized something was not right and hurried over. But the moment they came near, they saw Yi Qing engulfed by the countless black shadows. And after the black shadows dissipated, the entire area was in ruins. Only a charred black hole remained. After seeing the black hole, the monster appeared to have no intention of staying. It continued traveling forward. It was like its only target had been Yi Qing. It had no interest in the others at all. As they watched the monster's departing back profile, Lei Yan and the others looked like they had lost their souls. They stood there in a daze, unable to move at all. Chapter 2430 Death 4. Bo! Boss! Mu Ziying collapsed to the ground, tears streaming down her face. Impossible. Boss cannot possibly die. Lei Yan shook his head in disbelief. No matter what, he could not accept what he had just witnessed. Their boss was omnipotent. How could he possibly be dead? Qin Feng clenched his fists as blood dripped down from his palms. I don't believe it. Nangong Lai snapped out of his pain. He charged toward the huge black hole. In the next second, Yun Chun, Qin Feng, Lei Yan, Mu Ziying and Jing Zhe also flew over. Like crazed people, they searched the black hole for traces of Yi Qing. It was as if they wouldn't admit that Yi Qing had died. Lu Yuanxiang stood by the side, watching the scene with a pained expression. Only someone who had personally encountered an above-emperor-level monster would understand just how terrifying its power was. Yi Qing was very strong and could be considered an above-average practitioner among his peers. But an above-emperor-level monster, how could one defend against that? In fact, Lu Yuanxiang found himself tearing up. He had realized too late that Yi Qing was a very promising youth. But now, this kind of talent had died in a team competition that had spiraled out of control. Song Yanhan gaped. Looking at the crazed actions of Lei Yan and his group, his own eyes turned red. Without a word, he also went forward. As little hope as there was, he kept his thoughts to himself and helped Lei Yan's group search for traces of Yi Qing. It would be good even if all they could find was a corpse. It would offer some closure. Outside the Wailing Well, when Qi collapsed in his chair, when he saw Yi Qing engulfed by the black shadows, his face was pale, and he looked as if he had aged 10 years in a second. Yi Qing had died? How could this be? The other academy leaders also couldn't help sighing. From what they saw earlier, this young Netherworld Academy teacher was the most clear-headed person inside, and he seemed to have discovered some clues. If he had more time, he might have been able to get closer to the truth. A pity. The crowd could see that Yi Qing was the backbone of the two Netherworld Academy teams. It was because of him that these two teams managed to escape countless dangers. With Yi Qing's death, his team was like a flock of sheep without their shepherd, completely immersed in intense sorrow. Meanwhile, Lu Yuanxiang was grievously injured and unable to hold the fort. Trapped in such a dangerous environment, the chances of survival for these two teams had become increasingly small. Vice President. A Netherworld Academy teacher standing beside Wen Qi tried to comfort him when he saw his pain. Wen Qi felt like his chest had been ripped apart. He had allowed Yi Qing to join the Netherworld Academy, and he had eagerly looked forward to the youth's future progress. But now this promising youth had died just like that. Is there any news from President Wu? Wen Qi gritted his teeth before asking. Yi Qingtang had already been prepared to receive death, but she didn't feel the expected pain. The darkness before her eyes suddenly swirled, and in the next second, a ray of light floated in front of her. When Yi Qingtang opened her eyes, she was stunned by what she saw. Chapter 2431. Eavesdropping 1. Somehow, the scene before her was not the Wailing Well but a blue-green valley. An indescribable smell permeated the air. Yi Qingtang felt that this smell was somewhat familiar. She could clearly remember being attacked by that above-emperor-level monster. Why had she suddenly appeared in this valley? Just as Yi Qingtang was feeling befuddled, sounds of fighting drifted over. Yi Qingtang instinctively hid behind a large tree, and several figures suddenly flashed before her eyes. The figures left Yi Qingtang stunned by the sight. Several demons were sprinting vigorously. A heavily injured demon was desperately running in front, with several behind in close pursuit. They appeared intent on catching it. And that demon being chased looked exceptionally familiar to Yi Qingtang. Who? Yi Qingtang was taken aback. Wasn't this who from the East Demon faction in the Cursed Land? What was going on? Could it be that she had returned to the Cursed Land? Since Yi Qingtang pretended to be a demon to stay hidden in the East Demon faction, and inadvertently obtained the deity Ocean, the East faction had been pursued by the other demon camps. Thereafter, Yi Qingtang had used the deity ocean to leave the cursed land. She never imagined that she would return one day. Who was still being chased, and this meant that the other demons had not stopped pursuing the East faction. Could it be? The deity ocean inside her sensed the danger she was in and teleported her here? Yi Qingtang could not understand what had happened. In the next moment, she felt dizzy, and the valley disappeared before her eyes to be replaced by a bone-chilling cold. When Yi Qingtang opened her eyes again, it was dark and blurry. It was like there was a layer of frozen ice before her. Engulfed by the chilly air, Yi Qingtang could feel the deity ocean inside her vibrate, its power gradually fading away. It looked like she had guessed correctly. At the moment of imminent death, the deity ocean had been activated, and she was transported back to the cursed land. But now where was she? Yi Qingtang was not sure. After the deity ocean transported her out of the cursed land, she was now trapped beneath a lake that had frozen over. Thick ice layers had formed over the surface of the lake, under which she now was trapped. The strangest thing was when Yi Qingtang looked downward, there was no water around her at all. It was just an empty space, and she was floating in the darkness. It was pitch black beneath her, with no end in sight. Just as Yi Qingtang wanted to try and break through the ice, two figures suddenly appeared by the side of the lake. Yi Qingtang immediately halted when she noticed those two figures. One of them was Jin Qianyang, the Heaven Dome Academy teacher, whom Yi Qingtang had met in passing in the North Hall. A slender, delicate-looking teenage girl stood beside Jin Qianyang. She was not wearing the uniform of the Heaven Dome Academy, but that of the East Tomb Academy. The East Tomb Academy was not well known in the second domain. They were not at all comparable to elite schools like the Heaven Dome Academy. But in this year's Inter-Academy competition, the East Tomb Academy had suddenly performed outstandingly. The sole reason was this teenage girl, who had won the top position in the individual martial arts competition. Chapter 2432. Eavesdropping 2. Yi Qingtang had not paid too much attention to that, but she heard Luo Sheng say that the East Tomb Academy had sent a girl to the competition. If Yi Qingtang was right, this girl standing beside Jin Qianyang should be the one. Why were these two together here? Yi Qingtang couldn't resist feeling curious. She suddenly recalled something which had been nagging at her. How those from the Heaven Dome Academy had seemed to know of the Inter-Academy competition rules beforehand. That day during the chess matches, Xing Rong had accidentally revealed this information, and it had attracted Yi Qingtang's attention. Jin Qianyang and the girl from the East Tomb Academy did not realize that there was someone beneath the frozen water surface. The two of them came to a stop by the side of the lake. What's going on with the teleportation talismans? Jin Qianyang looked very unhappy. Earlier, they had attacked a team from another academy. Knowing they no longer had a chance to win, that team's teacher had crushed the teleportation talisman, ready to bring his team out of the Wailing Well. But the teleportation talisman failed to work. The teenage girl smiled as she gazed at the distressed-looking Jin Qianyang. Teacher Jin, why are you so anxious? It was just an accident. Accident? When the Heaven Dome Academy came to an agreement with you guys, there was no mention of this, was there? Jin Qianyang frowned. The teenage girl replied, Teacher Jin, calm down. We already told your academy of the rules beforehand. I am sure you already made the necessary preparations. We have cooperated well this whole time. Why get upset over such a small matter? Small matter? Jin Qianyang's face turned cold. You never told us about those above Emperor-level monsters inside the Wailing Well. The teenage girl said, We came to an agreement to let the Heaven Dome Academy reap the biggest rewards in this year's Inter-Academy competition. The prize for winning the team competition is the best. Everything we have done is just to ensure that we fulfill our agreement. Jin Qianyang was looking extremely grim. He grabbed the teenage girl's shoulder. I don't care what tricks you guys are up to. Those above Emperor-level monsters are already far beyond what my students can handle. And now the teleportation talismans are defective. You need to let us leave this place now. The teenage girl appeared unafraid of Jin Qianyang's threat, and only maintained her smile. Of course, Teacher Jin, don't worry. Haven't I led you to the exit now? What? Jin Qianyang was taken aback. The teenage girl turned to look at the frozen lake surface. Although the teleportation talismans are defective, Teacher Jin can lead your students to the bottom of this frozen lake. The Wailing Well's exit is right there. Jin Qianyang was stunned before his eyes turned to look at the surface of the frozen lake. Yi Qingtang had been hiding there all along, and didn't expect them to turn their attention to the lake. She thought that she was about to be exposed but realized that Jin Qianyang and the teenage girl looked like they couldn't see beneath the surface. She was clearly just beside them, but they remained oblivious. Are you speaking the truth? Jin Qianyang narrowed his eyes. He moved his hand upward and gripped the teenage girl's neck. The teenage girl remained unmoved. She answered in a docile manner. Of course I am. Our goal is simple. We only want the people from the other academies to be buried here. The Heaven Dome Academy is our partner. How could we go back on our word to you? Jin Qianyang smirked. You'd better make sure your words are true. Taking the lives of so many elite youths from so many academies. What the hell do you guys plan to do? Chapter 2433, Eavesdropping 3. Whatever our plans are, it will not affect the Heaven Dome Academy. After all, this catastrophe faced by the other academies will greatly reduce their power, and the Heaven Dome Academy will benefit the most from that. As long as we both benefit, there is no need to know the details, the teenage girl remarked dryly. Jin Qianyang glanced at the teenage girl impassively, before loosening his grip. Hidden under the ice, Yi Qingtang overheard their entire conversation. The more she heard, the more shocked she became. The Heaven Dome Academy indeed knew of the rules beforehand, and that teenage girl. Who the hell was she? She could not possibly just be a normal student from a school like the East Tomb Academy. And based on what they said, they wanted to bury all the other teams in here. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. The most worrying thing was those above Emperor-level monsters. The appearance of those monsters was indeed no coincidence. And from the conversation she just overheard, it was clear that the teenage girl already knew of everything. As for the appearance of those monsters, it was very possible that it had been engineered by the powers backing this teenage girl. Who the hell was she? Just as Yi Qingtang was filled with endless queries, she saw Jin Qianyang take out the little ball from his space ring. He had hidden the ball inside earlier. That ball would follow every team, recording everything. Yi Qingtang had also once tried to hide the ball inside her space ring, but did not succeed. But somehow Jin Qianyang was able to do it. Just as Jin Qianyang was about to release the ball, there was a sudden cracking sound. In the next second, the entire ball shattered. Before Jin Qianyang realized what was happening, he suddenly felt a cold sensation at the back of his neck. With no time to react, he collapsed to the ground, and his head rolled to the side of the lake. The teenage girl had somehow moved behind Jin Qianyang. A faint smile curled up at the corners of her lips. Her fingers were stained with blood as she gazed imperiously at the beheaded Jin Qianyang. Jin Qianyang was more powerful than Yi Qingtang, but he had been oblivious to the danger behind him. Even Yi Qingtang, who had been hiding beneath the ice layer, did not manage to catch a clear look at the teenage girl's attack. This meant that this teenage girl's powers were far beyond that of Yi Qingtang and Jin Qianyang. The girl lifted her hand slightly and Jin Qianyang's body and head were instantly turned to ash. The ashes swirled with the wind, and the teenage girl suddenly morphed into Jin Qianyang's exact image. Taking out a set of clothes from her space ring which was identical to Jin Qianyang's, she changed into it before disappearing into the forest behind. Meanwhile, the real Jin Qianyang had already disintegrated into ashes, disappearing without a trace. Apart from Yi Qingtang, who had witnessed everything from beneath the ice layer, no one else knew that Jin Qianyang had been replaced by a copy. After waiting for a while to ensure that the teenage girl had really left, Yi Qingtang finally tried breaking out from under the ice. When she finally emerged and looked back at the frozen surface, she discovered that the spot from which she had emerged did not bear any signs of rupture. The ice layer was like an illusion. No wonder Jin Qianyang and the teenage girl hadn't noticed her. Even so, this realization did not cheer Yi Qingtang up even a little. It was apparent that the teenage girl wanted to make use of this team competition to kill off all the student participants. She had come to a prior agreement with the Heaven Dome Academy, but who would have expected her to suddenly turn around and kill Jin Xinyang before taking on his appearance? Chapter 2434. Suspicions 1. Yi Qingtang gazed forward, her expression calm. This wailing well was rather interesting. At this point, Yi Qingtang was deep in thought. Since the competition started, she had felt that things were a bit off. After entering the wailing well, everything had just spun out of control. Just those above Emperor-level monsters alone were enough to prove that things were abnormal. The wailing well was no friendly place. The academies couldn't have been so careless. They would have investigated all team competition venues thoroughly before allowing their students to enter. However, this wailing well had been an exception. The various academies did not get the chance to investigate the location, but Universe City had assured them that their own men had checked it. Why didn't the Universe City discover any above Emperor-level monsters during their investigation? In addition, why had the teleportation talismans suddenly failed to work? The defective teleportation talismans were no accident. All the talismans had been defective. It was like someone had planned it. Yi Qingtang grew increasingly calm as she started to link up all the different incidents. Everything had been part of a huge setup, and the teams who entered the wailing well were praised to be hunted in this trap. But even now that the situation was clear, they still could not use the teleportation talismans to leave the wailing well. And no one could handle those above Emperor-level monsters. This was a place in hell where one was sent to die. Even Yi Qingtang was unable to come up with any good solution. But it seemed that the illusion of an ice lake appeared to be the only exit. Nevertheless, now that things had come to this, Yi Qingtang could not just leave and abandon those students she had brought in. She had to bring them out with her. Meanwhile, in the outside world, through the image transmitted by the ball, Wen Qi frowned deeply as he watched Luo Sheng's team encounter those terrifying above Emperor-level monsters, just moments after entering the wailing well. Luo Sheng's team was annihilated. No one survived. How could this be? Veins popped up on the vice president's forehead. Wen Qi was not the only one. The other academy leaders also expressed their sympathy when they saw what happened to Luo Sheng's team. They grew increasingly worried for their own men. Have we yet to find the Universe City people? Wen Qi stood up and shouted in rage. The academy leaders shook their heads. We have been searching nonstop, but those Universe City people seem to have left no traces behind at all. It was like they had never been here before. I think we won't be able to find them so soon. Humph! One of the academy leaders snorted. No matter what, we must root them out. Even if we have to turn over the entire place. That's right. The Universe City folks were the ones who insisted on using the wailing well. They are definitely linked to what's happening now. Actually, on second thought, not only did the Universe City people insist on the wailing well, but they were also the ones who set the rule that no special artifacts are allowed. And after the appearance of the above Emperor-level monster, the Universe City folks have all disappeared without a trace. There's no way they are not connected to this matter. Chapter 2435. Suspicions 2. The various academies in Universe City had worked together for so many years, and no such incident had happened in the past before. This was why the academy leaders didn't think too much about it at the beginning. But as more time passed, as blind as the academy leaders had been, they now realized that there were just too many things that had gone wrong. The Universe City people were definitely involved in this. No matter what, we have to find those Universe City folks. If this is really some devious plan of theirs, I will tear them apart. The eyes of one of the academy leaders flashed with cold light. The students enrolled in the various academies were their lifeblood. They were the future of the academies, many of them belonging to all sorts of powerful family clans. Some even had royal relations. If these prominent descendants ended up dying in the wailing well, just because they had participated in a normal inter-academy competition, how were they going to explain these to the family clans? How were they going to answer for their deaths? For today's catastrophe, regardless of Universe City's role in it. Every single academy at present had an undeniable responsibility. If they hadn't been so pliant toward those Universe City people, and had insisted on understanding the situation more, today's crisis might have been avoided. The various academies had been competing against each other for so many years, but when faced with such a situation, they miraculously all came together. The Universe City had to answer to them, answer to those dead children, and answer to their family clans. Wen-Chi, look! Just as Wen-Chi was stewing in anger, one of the academy leaders exclaimed as he watched the screen beside Wen-Chi. What? Wen-Chi asked. Look at that screen, the academy leader said. Wen-Chi turned toward the screen, and was stunned by the image. The screen was showing Luo Sheng's team, who had all been annihilated. A youth was now walking within the lifeless scene. Yi Qing. Wen-Chi was astonished when he saw the face of that youth. He was filled with disbelief. How can it be? The academy leaders immediately crowded over to look at the screen in front of Wen-Chi. They looked amazed. They had all personally witnessed just how formidable Yi Qing's above-emperor-level monster was. There was no doubt that he had a 0% chance of survival. But now, that youth who should have been utterly destroyed had appeared on the screen in a completely unharmed state. How could one even begin to explain that? Just as everyone was filled with disbelief, the Heaven Dome Academy vice president suddenly frowned. He stared at the stunned Wen-Chi. Wen-Chi, this might not be an appropriate time for me to voice out certain things, but Yi Qing died right before our eyes. And now, he has appeared again completely unharmed. Shouldn't you say something about that? Wen-Chi met the eyes of the Heaven Dome Academy vice president. What do you mean by that? What do I mean? The Heaven Dome Academy vice president gave a cold laugh. A person who should be dead reappearing well and alive before us. Isn't that strange enough? The other academy leaders fell into deep thought after hearing the Heaven Dome Academy vice president's words. Chapter 2436, Suspicions 3. The group had not considered that angle earlier, but after the Heaven Dome Academy vice president's comments, they couldn't help having the same suspicions. It was undeniable. The screen had clearly shown the Netherworld Academy teacher Yes death. Faced with an above-emperor-level monster, it was impossible to survive. It would be the same fate for anyone. Now that Yi Qing had reappeared, how could they explain it? The minds of the group were hypersensitive now. They already suspected the Wailing Well to be a trap, and now Yi Qing had been resurrected. Zhou Tong, what are you trying to imply? Are you suspecting Yi Qing of being one of the masterminds behind the Wailing Well trap? When she stood up, the joy of seeing Yi Qing alive again had been dispelled by the Heaven Dome Academy vice president's suspicion. All that was left now was white-hot fury. Without waiting for the Heaven Dome Academy vice president to reply, Wen-Chi continued. I get it now. You are suspecting that our Netherworld Academy is the mastermind behind the Wailing Well affair. This also means that you think the Netherworld Academy is in cahoots with the Universe City people? Wen-Chi was enraged. If the Netherworld Academy is the mastermind, will we send our own students in? Didn't you see how Luo Sheng died? Or are you blind? Zhou Tong gave a cold laugh. Wen-Chi, why are you so angry? When did I accuse the Netherworld Academy of being the mastermind? I have only mentioned Yi Qing. But I must say that the Netherworld Academy's losses are the smallest amongst the rest of us, right? Everyone fell into deep thought at this. Zhou Tong's words were not without reason. If they were to make some calculations, the Netherworld Academy had only lost one student in Luo Sheng's team. Even the Netherworld Academy's greatest loss, Yi Qing, had now reappeared alive and well when Qi's anger deflated. To be honest, when Qi didn't blame Zhou Tong. If it were him, he would have had the same suspicions. I believe in Yi Qing. I can guarantee that he has nothing to do with this affair. Moreover, who here can say that they saw Yi Qing actually die? When Qi stated in a chilly voice, Okay, then tell us, how did Yi Qing make it out alive? Don't tell me he is also an above-emperor level practitioner? He was able to escape from that monster's fatal attack. His speed was so fast that even we failed to spot it. Zhou Tong insisted. Space technique. One of the leaders suddenly spoke up. Silence fell across the hall. Space technique was a peerless divine technique. Rumor had it that in the entire second domain, only that legendary figure had that ability. Ha 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 ha. Zhou Tong guffawed. The peerless divine space technique. Are you kidding me? Why don't you just say that Yi Qing is actually that legendary person from the Temple of Paragon? Even when she wouldn't believe that. Space technique. There was no way Yi Qing could control space. When she didn't even believe that he would know much of the space technique. Like Zhou Tong, when she knew that it was impossible. I was just raising a point. If one uses the space technique, escape from that monster is possible. I am not claiming that Yi Qing knows the space technique. The academy leader shook his head. He also had no idea why such a ridiculous idea suddenly popped into his head. Space technique. Chapter 2437. Suspicions 4. Space technique was not just your usual martial art technique. It was a very mysterious ability concerning the enigmatic realm of space. Even the most talented second domain practitioners, who specialized in the study of space, were not able to properly explain the space technique. It was said that the space technique was derived from the time technique. If one could master the space technique, he would be able to easily pass through all dimensions of space. As for the time technique, it was even more mysterious and unfathomable. One would be able to peer into the future and reach back into the past. Naturally, the space technique was not a technique for your everyday person. Rumor had it that there was a space lord bloodline in one of the high-level martial arts mainlands, and all those of that bloodline were able to control space. In the second domain, only that legendary person from the Temple of Paragon was rumored to have the space technique. No one else had it. So when she found it difficult to believe that Yi Qing knew the space technique and made use of it to escape the above emperor-level monster. There were so many things he needed clarification on, but there was no way to communicate with Yi Qing now. Vice President Zhou Tong, Vice President Wen Qi, I feel that this is not the time to argue over this. If there is really something wrong with Yi Qing, I believe the Netherworld Academy is also in the dark. Yi Qing's resurrection is definitely strange, but at this stage, it also doesn't seem right to say that the Wailing Well affair is connected to Yi Qing or the Netherworld Academy. We need to wait for Yi Qing to come out to clarify matters. Until then, we just have to keep observing. One of the academy leaders spoke up. Meanwhile, inside the Wailing Well, Yi Qingtang looked at the dead Luo Sheng and his team, and a slight frown appeared on her face. She had detected the thick stench of blood earlier, but never expected it to be from Luo Sheng and these men. Luo Sheng had shown extra care and concern for her while she was in the Netherworld Academy. She felt very upset at his wretched death. Even so, there was nothing she could do now to change things. She might not even be able to leave this Wailing Well alive. After some deep thought, Yi Qingtang went over to the remains of Luo Sheng and his team. Death by a single strike. They would not have suffered much. That's not right. Luo Sheng shouldn't be inside the Wailing Well. Yi Qingtang muttered to herself. Luo Sheng was not on the list of teachers or students bound for the Wailing Well. Also, apart from Luo Sheng, there were the bodies of several Netherworld Academy staff. They were not students or teachers, and should not have appeared in the Wailing Well. Yi Qingtang finally understood after mulling over it. It was probably due to the video recording ball. The outside world already knew of the Wailing Well situation, and about the defective teleportation talismans. As for Luo Sheng and his team, if Yi Qingtang guessed correctly, the vice president had probably sent them into the Wailing Well after discovering the anomalies. Searching the area, Yi Qingtang tried to see if Luo Sheng and his team had any clues or information on them. She did not find any, but she found quite a number of special artifacts. Yi Qingtang even found her own space ring. Most of those special artifacts were the items left on the outside by the Netherworld Academy teams, as they had not been allowed to bring them into the Wailing Well. Chapter 2438. Devious Ploy 1. After knowing of the situation inside the Wailing Well, the vice president probably had Luo Sheng bring these things in. Collecting all of the items brought in by Luosheng, Yi Qingting left without turning back. The Wailing Well was full of danger. Every second inside here held the threat of death and disaster. Although it was unfortunate, Yi Qingting did not have time to give Luosheng and his team a proper burial. She had a more urgent mission, and that was to find her students. But Yi Qingting had also mentally prepared herself for the worst. She had been facing an above-emperor-level monster when she was transported away by the deity ocean. Yi Qingting had no idea what happened after she left. She did not dare to make any predictions either. Going by the powers of Nangong Lai, Qin Feng and the rest, there was no way they could hold themselves against an above-emperor-level monster. But Yi Qingting remembered that during her final moments, Nangong Lai, Lei Yan and the others were already some distance away from the monster. If they chose to run in the opposite direction then, there was a small chance that they managed to escape alive. Just a small chance, but at least it was not 0%. Yi Qingting had been traveling inside the Wailing Well for 2 days, spending every minute and second searching for traces of Mu Ziying and her group. She had to find them alive, or at least see their dead bodies. Without either, Yi Qingting would not give up. The previous evening, Yi Qingting found the spot where she last disappeared. But she didn't find any of her students' bodies, not even any traces of the Flying Star Academy people or Lu Yuanxiang's team. If they had really perished under the hands of the above-emperor-level monster, there would be traces of them. Even if the bodies were not whole, there would be remnants left behind. But after another full day of searching, she didn't manage to find any signs of Lei Yan, Qin Feng and the rest. Yi Qingting moved extremely cautiously inside the Wailing Well. She also personally witnessed several teams from the other academies destroyed by above-emperor-level monsters. It was rather chilly at night. A suffocating sense of oppression permeated the air. Yi Qingting sat atop a tall tree, constantly surveying her surroundings. Those above-emperor-level monsters would become more active at night. The ground shook constantly as if some hidden terror was deep underground. Could it be that there's something underground? Yi Qingting frowned as she gazed afar. The tremors became increasingly intense. Compared to the previous 2 days, the vibration was clearly different now. Those monsters all seemed to come from underground. There must be some linkage there between these two factors. In addition, there was that mysterious girl at the Illusion Ice Lake 2 days ago. As stupid as Yi Qingting might be, she was able to link everything together and guess that there was something extraordinary inside the Wailing Well. Don't tell me the appearance of those above-emperor-level monsters is due to... Yi Qingting frowned as she mulled over this. The image of the girl at the illusory ice lake appeared in her mind's eye again. The teams who entered the Wailing Well were no match for those above-emperor-level monsters at all. What puzzled Yi Qingting the most was if the girl was really able to control those monsters. Why did she have to trick the academy students and teachers into coming into the Wailing Well? What was the motive behind such an action? She clearly possessed very high powers, so there was no need for her to waste time with these petty tricks. Or perhaps she was not the one controlling those monsters. Chapter 2439. Devious Ploy 2. As the thoughts continued to circle within her mind, Yi Qingting felt a headache coming along. At the end of the day, everything that had happened, whether it was part of some nefarious scheme or something else, had nothing to do with her. All these were not carried out against her. Yi Qingting didn't wish to get involved in a messy situation and had no intention of probing the matter. In her previous life, Yi Qingting had no grand illusions about the way of things. She had her own set of principles and stood aloof from matters that did not concern her. But after being reborn, her principles from her previous life had once and again been broken. Inside the Wailing Well, Yi Qingting could have escaped in one piece, but she chose to stay without any hesitation. How could she abandon Qin Feng, Nangong Lai and the rest of them? Yi Qingting never treated the Netherworld Academy as her home. But even so, the president and vice president had treated her with true sincerity. She admitted to herself that she could not just leave now and cut off all ties with the Netherworld Academy. The harsh wind was bone-chillingly cold in the deep night. Atop a tall tree, Yi Qingtang slowly opened her eyes and gave a soft sigh. The Wailing Well was just too strange. There was the ever-present threat of those above Emperor-level monsters. One could not let down one's guard for even a second. Otherwise, death might have been served at any time. In her previous life, she had lived a wretched existence. Being reborn was the greatest gift from the heavens. In this life, she had also experienced way too much, and had also encountered all sorts of situations before. Was the Wailing Well more strange than the Dragon Vein mystic realm? More weird than the Immortal and Buddha mystic realm? More dangerous than all the life and death situations she had experienced in the first mainland? Yi Qingtang had high ambitions. She wanted to fully explore the wider martial arts world and find her birth parents. She also wanted to get to the bottom of the mystery behind her heart of the heavenly Tao. How could she die in this stupid Wailing Well? This was just a stumbling block in her real path. A stumbling block that was obstructing her raging ambitions. Yi Qingtang swore that she would crush every single stumbling block that tried to prevent her from moving forward. The tremors have stopped. After some time, Yi Qingtang surveyed her surroundings as she muttered to herself. Over the past few days, Yi Qingtang closely observed any changes on the ground surface. Every day, toward the latter part of the night, the tremors will lessen, and sometimes even come to a complete stop. Although she had no idea what this meant, she did not care. All she wanted was to find Qinfeng, Nangong Lai and the rest. As for the changes underground, and those above Emperor-level monsters, they were none of her business. At this point, Yi Qingtang was standing atop the tall tree, surveying her surroundings. Every time the tremors completely stopped, those monsters would also halt their activity. The latter part of the night in the Wailing Well was comparatively safer. There was a water spring several thousand meters away up ahead. Without any hesitation, Yi Qingtang flew toward that spring. It was dead silent in the deep night. There were no bird cries or cicadas singing. It was like they were completely cut off from nature. All that was left was the whistle of a passing cold wind. As she had spotted the spring from afar, it didn't appear too big. But when she arrived at the spot, Yi Qingtang realized that the water spring was ridiculously expansive. Even more astonishing was the fact that there were no traces of blood at all inside that spring. Chapter 2440. Big Yellow Dog. Yi Qingtang immediately used her hands to scoop up some water to drink. The spring water was crisp and sweet. After several days of strong winds, Yi Qingtang was covered in dirt and dust. Looking at the clear spring waters, Yi Qingtang couldn't resist. She shed her fake male identity, letting down her waist-length black hair. The wind was harsh and cold, but it was nothing to Yi Qingtang. Feeling relaxed, she washed away the dirt on her body. Yi Qingtang soaked inside the spring. It had been a long time since she felt so relaxed. Since the central mainland, and even while she was in the second domain, she had been on her guard, fighting with her wits or fists every minute of the day. It was way too long since she enjoyed this level of relaxation. Just as Yi Qingtang was enjoying this rare treat, she suddenly stiffened when she caught sight of something from the corner of her eye. She dragged her clothes, which she had placed by the side of the spring, into the water and put them back on. A pair of black eyes were staring at her about half a foot away. Yi Qingtang frowned deeply, but after she got a clear look, she gradually relaxed. It was a dog also soaking in the spring. Its head was above the surface, two ears standing straight up and staring at Yi Qingtang. Human and dog exchanged looks, sizing each other up. Yi Qingtang was feeling rather puzzled. How did a dog appear in a dangerous place like the Wailing Well? And Yi Qingtang was sure that it was a dog and not some demon. It was an ordinary dog like those kept by families to guard the house. Although it was very strange for a dog to appear like this, Yi Qingtang didn't think too much of it. After all, dogs were a common creature. Why are you inside the spring? Yi Qingtang smiled at the dog. Aren't you cold? What happened next went completely beyond Yi Qingtang's expectations. It's still alright. The temperature is fine, but the waters are a bit too deep. It's an effort for me to keep paddling. The dog replied candidly in human language. Yi Qingtang was dazed by the fact that this dog could speak. Her smile froze on her face. This little dog, did it just speak? Normal animals were different from demons. Especially for a common creature like this dog. She had never heard of a dog who could speak. What kind of thing are you? Yi Qingtang snapped out of her trance. In the blink of an eye, she leaped out of the spring onto the shore, all the while staring guardedly at the dog. Having lived so many years, Yi Qingtang never expected that she would ever be so guarded against a common dog. The dog looked rather annoyed at Yi Qingtang's comments. So rude. What do you mean by thing? Am I a thing? I am not just a thing. Can't you see with your eyes what am I? Yi Qingtang. Are you really a dog? Yi Qingtang asked. Yi Qingtang swore that this thing inside the spring was no demon. It was clearly a common dog, the type used to guard houses. Dog? Did you just call me a dog? The dog stared at Yi Qingtang. Are you joking? Aren't you a dog? Yi Qingtang was confused. Of course not. Chapter 2441, Big Yellow Dog 2. What the hell are you? Yi Qingtang was curious. I am a canine. The dog spoke fluently. Yi Qingtang was speechless. Wasn't that the same thing as a dog? Dog sounds so insulting. You are so rude, not showing me any respect. I am a canine, not a dog, the dog continued. Yi Qingtang did not reply. She could clearly feel that this dog was not a demon. Not only that, she could not detect any power inside this dog. This meant that it was indeed a normal dog. The only difference between the common dog and this one here is that it could talk. Other than that, it posed no threat to her. Before the dog could say anything else, Yi Qingtang scooped it up from the spring. It was a big yellow dog, and rather good-looking according to human standards. It might not be pretty enough to be a dog model, but it was not bad. The big yellow dog immediately shook its fur after being scooped up, spraying countless water droplets onto Yi Qingtang's face. Before Yi Qingtang could speak, the big yellow dog fixed its eyes on her. You are a human. Yi Qingtang replied. You are a dog. And I am your father, the big yellow dog retorted. Yi Qingtang. When she came to her senses, she glared at it. She was going to kill it. The big yellow dog hastily took 2 steps back when it felt Yi Qingtang's aggressive aura. What are you planning to do? Don't tell me you want to torture a dog. I am feeling a little hungry now. Yi Qingtang stared at the dog and gave it a slight smile. Hungry? There's nothing to eat here. The big yellow dog replied instinctively. Yi Qingtang continued to stare quietly at the big yellow dog with that smile on her face. As if it suddenly realized something, the big yellow dog hurriedly said, Stand there and don't move. I will go find something for you to eat. I will be back soon. With that, the big yellow dog turned to flee with its tail between its legs. But there was no way Yi Qingtang would let that big yellow dog escape so easily. With lightning-fast reflexes, she grabbed its hind leg. Let's see how you can run now. You preposterous. Let go of my leg. The big yellow dog cried out in panic. Is there still a God? You look so sweet and lovely, but harbor such evil thoughts. You want to eat me. I want to eat you if you answer my questions honestly. How dare you? Do you know who I am? The big yellow dog shouted. Oh, I am indeed rather interested to know. Please tell me who you are. Yi Qingtang was curious. Yi Qingtang had lived 2 lives, but had never seen such a strange thing. A common dog was able to speak. The world was wide and nothing was impossible. Moreover, this talking dog had appeared inside the Wailing Well. Things were probably not as simple as they appeared to be. Let me tell you, it doesn't matter who I am. The big yellow dog shouted. Without giving Yi Qingtang a chance to reply, it continued. I have people above me. People above you. Yi Qingtang was taken aback. She instinctively glanced above the big yellow dog. I mean, I have people behind me. The big yellow dog corrected. Behind? Yi Qingtang looked behind the big yellow dog. The big yellow dog. Do you really understand English? I mean that I have powerful people backing me. You cannot afford to offend me. Chapter 2442, Big Yellow Dog 3. Yi Qingtang was amused by the big yellow dog's claim. This was the biggest joke she had ever heard. A dog was saying it had powerful people backing it, and that she could not afford to offend it? Seeing Yi Qingtang remain silent, the big yellow dog thought she was frightened off by its claim. Young lady, it doesn't matter who I am. You just need to know that you cannot afford to offend a famous canine like me. How famous? Yi Qingtang smiled. How famous? The big yellow dog gave a very human-like snort. No one in this world dares to disrespect me. I have butchered deities in the sky and caught dragons in the sea. With a single swipe of my paw, I can cause the earth to shake and tear apart. So formidable? Yi Qingtang was still holding on to its leg. I am not in the habit of boasting. If I was as bad-tempered as before, you would have already been dead. Let go of my leg first, and let us talk things out, said the big yellow dog. Yi Qingtang remained silent, but scooped up the dog, and flew back to a tall tree. Let me down. Get your hands off me. The big yellow dog hollered. Pointedly ignoring the big yellow dog's cries, Yi Qingtang brought it to the top of the tree. Are you going to let me go? I won't hold back anymore if you don't. The big yellow dog was anxious now. I want to see what you can do. Yi Qingtang smiled again. As Yi Qingtang watched, the big yellow dog bared its teeth and bit her arm. Yi Qingtang was speechless. It was truly just a common dog. How about that? Are you scared now? The big yellow dog looked at Yi Qingtang smugly. Yi Qingtang was still speechless. Yes, she was so terrified. The big yellow dog prattled nonstop about how dangerous he was until Yi Qingtang frowned. Lower your voice. You'll attract those monsters, and then you will be doomed. Monsters? The big yellow dog looked thoughtful. Do you mean those above emperor-level monsters? Yi Qingtang's eyes flashed. It appeared like this dog was really extraordinary. It even knew about the above emperor levels. But the big yellow dog did not look scared at all. It only gave a wolfish smirk. Those pesky little things? What's there to be afraid of? I already told you that I have gone up to the skies to butcher deities, and into the sea to capture. Yi Qingtang. Turtles? Dragons? The big yellow dog harumphed. Don't touch me, stay away from me. You are the most boastful dog I have ever met. Yi Qingtang smiled. Boast? The big yellow dog looked at Yi Qingtang. I never boast, I only speak the truth. Do you really take me for a dog? If not, then what are you? Yi Qingtang asked. A canine. The big yellow dog huffed. Although Yi Qingtang wanted to say something, she just kept silent. Why was she always encountering such weird things? I am not boasting. Even those above emperor-level minions have to respect me. They would give way if they encountered me, the big yellow dog claimed. Yi Qingtang glanced at the big yellow dog. She had no idea if those above emperor-level monsters would give way to it. But there was one thing she could be sure of. Those monsters probably couldn't even see it. How long have you been in the Wailing Well? Yi Qingtang asked. Wailing Well? The big yellow dog looked puzzled, as if it had no idea what a Wailing Well was. What Wailing Well? Why are you acting all puzzled? We are in the Wailing Well now, aren't we? Chapter 2443, Big Yellow Dog 4. The big yellow dog stared at Yi Qingtang. It looked like it was deep in thought. It was only after a long time that the big yellow dog wagged its tail and spoke again. I really don't know anything about this Wailing Well. It has been too long. Perhaps there has been a name change. Before Yi Qingtang could respond, the big yellow dog changed the subject. Oh yes, which immortal abode grotto heaven are you from? Yi Qingtang was befuddled. She had no idea what this big yellow dog was talking about. Immortal abode grotto heaven? What was that? She had never heard of it before. Oh yes, how is your boss? The big yellow dog continued, oblivious to the puzzled expression on Yi Qingtang's face. Immortal abode grotto heaven. My boss, are you suffering from rabies? Yi Qingtang instinctively shifted away from the dog in case it was contagious. You don't know about the immortal abode grotto heaven? Now the big yellow dog looked even more amazed than Yi Qingtang. Never heard of it. Yi Qingtang shook her head. But surely you must know about Shirtian? The big yellow dog insisted. Shirtian? Yi Qingtang shook her head again. Who is that? How is this possible? It was clear that Yi Qingtang was not lying. The big yellow dog was in disbelief. Don't tell me I have been asleep for so long. Things have changed so drastically. You don't even know about Shirtian? Yi Qingtang was exasperated. In both her previous and current lives, she had never heard of the name Shi Tian. If he was really that famous, he would still be remembered even if he existed hundreds of thousands of years ago. What the hell are you talking about? You said you were asleep. What do you mean by that? Yi Qingtang asked. Let's not talk about that first. Come punch me. The big yellow dog said anxiously. What? What did you say? Yi Qingtang was utterly confused. Did this dog really have rabies? It bit her just now. Was it contagious? Quickly punch me. I promise not to retaliate, the big yellow dog repeated. Yi Qingtang. In her many years of living, no one had ever made such a request. A dog was begging her to punch it. Are you going to hit me or not? I will bite you if you don't. I'm serious. As if trying to prove its point, the big yellow dog bared its fangs and stared at Yi Qingtang's arm, as if it was looking for the most tender spot to sink its teeth in. But Yi Qingtang fulfilled the big yellow dog's wishes before it could bite her. She punched the dog square in the face. But Yi Qingtang didn't put in too much strength. After all, it was just a dog. With her current powers, what if she killed it? Arhwu! The big yellow dog howled so much after being punched by Yi Qingtang that it nearly fell off the tree. Luckily, Yi Qingtang was fast enough to catch hold of it. The big yellow dog whimpered in Yi Qingtang's arms. You are so weak. After a long time, the big yellow dog finally recovered itself and chided Yi Qingtang. An exasperated laugh came out of Yi Qingtang's lips at the big yellow dog's words. Weak. What was it that squealed like a pig just now after being punched by her? It was nearly killed by that single punch. And now it was chiding her for being weak. This dog was really shameless. Ha, sorry to disappoint you. Why don't you let me punch you again? I promise to give it my all this time, as long as you don't die. How about that? With that, Yi Qingtang tossed the dog out from her arms. Chapter 2444. Big Yellow Dog 5. The big yellow dog sprawled beside Yi Qingtang, peering at her from the corner of its eyes. It looked like it was considering something, but then shook its head. I think there's no need. From your earlier punch, I can already tell your power level. You are even weaker than an infant. Do you think I won't throw you down this tree if you don't stop spouting nonsense? Yi Qingtang warned. I am not speaking nonsense but the truth. You are the weakest human I have ever met. The big yellow dog continued unabashedly. Do you believe that I will kill with one punch? Yi Qingtang threatened. Before the big yellow dog could say anything further, Yi Qingtang scooped it up. Another earthquake is coming. The big yellow dog's ears perked up. Immediately after that, the ground started to shake violently. Yi Qingtang's tall tree was sent flying into the air, as if something was burrowing out of the ground beneath. Hugging the big yellow dog, Yi Qingtang leaped nimbly across the air and landed safely on the ground. But her face turned grim the moment she landed and saw what was before her. This is bad. Yi Qingtang frowned as she watched the above emperor-level monster crawl out from the ground. Even Yi Qingtang never expected there to be an above emperor-level monster under this area. This above emperor-level monster's body was not as big as the previous ones, but its aura was even more terrifying, just like a condensed version of the earlier monsters. Damn it! Yi Qingtang gritted her teeth. Those above emperor-level monsters she encountered earlier were already way beyond her level. And this one was even more terrifying. Seeing Yi Qingtang's grave expression, the big yellow dog just wagged its tail. Why are you so scared? There's nothing scary about this type of monster. It's merely a pipsqueak at the bottom of the food chain. Bottom of the food chain? Yi Qingtang glanced at the big yellow dog. Who the hell gave it so many guts as to spout such shameless nonsense? It couldn't even endure a single light punch from her. But now it was claiming that this above emperor-level monster was at the bottom of the food chain? Damn, did it even know what a food chain was? Bottom? They were the ones who were at the bottom. Of course, this big yellow dog belonged to an even lower level than Yi Qingtang. Roar! Pain shot through Yi Qingtang's eardrums. She felt like her soul was going to split into pieces from that thunderous roar. Run! Without any hesitation, Yi Qingtang poured all her energy into sprinting forward as fast as possible. But the above emperor level monster had already detected Yi Qingtang and the big yellow dog. Seeing a human fleeing with a dog in her arms, the monster immediately gave chase. It had no intention of letting Yi Qingtang escape. The big yellow dog was annoyed. It harumphed. "You weakling, why are you running? Fight it off. That monster is nothing. Why should we run? Stop running and beat it up." Yi Qingtang had no time or energy to deal with the dog. "Shut up." Yi Qingtang felt very irritated by the big yellow dog's incessant nagging. "You are really useless. You are the most useless human I have ever met. To think you're even scared of a monster who exists at the bottom of the food chain. How embarrassing. Don't you feel ashamed? You are a disgrace to Shirtian." Yi Qingtang. Who the hell was Shirtian? She had never heard of this person before. Boom. An ear-splitting rumble shook the earth. The above emperor level monster leaped and landed right in front of Yi Qingtang's path. Chapter 2445. Big Yellow Dog 6. Yi Qingtang was shocked to see the above emperor level monster standing in her way. She had no idea how to fight it at all. The difference in their abilities was as huge as a giant, and its power was in an entirely different dimension compared to hers. "You useless trash. You can't even escape from this low-level prey at the bottom of the food chain. You're an embarrassment to Shirtian," the big yellow dog in her arms scolded. "You deal with it then." Sick of its yammering, she threw it to the ground. Since it couldn't stop talking about the bottom of the food chain, it could deal with them. Woof woof woof. The big yellow dog barked at Yi Qingtang. She was speechless. She had never met someone so shameless before. It had been yapping away so much, and now that it was for real, it was pretending to be a dog. "Could you be any more shameless?" she asked the big yellow dog, wagging its tail at her. Woof woof. The big yellow dog continued barking. "Didn't you say that it was from the bottom of the food chain? Why are you pretending to be a dog now?" "What are you saying? I'm not pretending to be a dog. I am a dog," the big yellow dog said with a dog-like grin, revealing one huge white tooth. But just as it was speaking, the above emperor level monster turned its gaze on it. Seeing this, the big yellow dog quickly turned to look at the above emperor level monster before telling Yi Qingtang, "You useless thing. How can you be so scared of such a useless monster? Watch and learn." Yi Qingtang was slightly moved by its words. Was it really not afraid of the above emperor level monster? Did it actually have something up its sleeves? Now that she thought about it, the big yellow dog was indeed strange. Just the fact that it could speak was strange. In her 2 lives, she had yet to meet a speaking dog that was not related to demons. If this big yellow dog could really deal with the above emperor level monster. "I'm talking about you. Come, focus your attention on me. Focus all your attention on me." The big yellow dog wagged its tail and looked at the above emperor level monsters. Whether it was a coincidence or if they really understood the big yellow dog's words, the above emperor level monsters all turned their eyes on the big yellow dog. "Let me say a few words," the big yellow dog said. "We're all animals here, so let's not pretend to be anything more. I'll save you some face. You all can head towards the north, and we'll head towards the east. Lower your heads and don't look up. Who do you think you're crossing?" She was speechless. She must have gone mad. She had actually harbored hopes towards this big yellow dog. Roar! In the next second, the above emperor level monsters all roared. The big yellow dog stayed still, as though it was in deep thought. After a long time, it looked at the above emperor level monster in front of it and said, "Your mouth stinks." The big yellow dog quickly turned around and wagged its tail at her. "Have you learned anything?" She was speechless. What had she learned? To tell the above emperor level monsters that their mouths stank? "This bottom level feeder is no match for me. You should deal with it and make sure not to let Shirtian down," the big yellow dog said. Yi Qingtang honestly had no words. Hadn't she emphasized many times before already that she had no idea who Shirtian was? Chapter 2446. I'll bring you to search for it. Yi Qingtang was all ready to die at that moment. There was no way she could defeat or outrun the above emperor level monsters in front of her. Roar! The above emperor-level monster bellowed furiously, as though they were trying to split the sky. I already told you your mouth stinks. Please shut it, the big yellow dog said to the above emperor-level monster. But this dire situation only made Yi Qingtang even calmer. If only I could enter the space from before again. As long as she could use the mysterious deity ocean, she would be able to enter the other space. After she had obtained the deity ocean all those years ago, she had tried to connect with it many times, but to no avail. Let's give it a go. Forcing herself to calm down, she tried connecting to the deity ocean. Even after 2 breathing exercises, she frowned as she still couldn't connect with it. Although she could touch it, it seemed to have no intention of connecting with her. It was tightly shut like a stone door with no intention of opening. You're all animals. I'll save you some face and let you go. If you want to cause trouble, go and do it to that woman and don't bother me, alright? The big yellow dog said as it noticed the above emperor-level monsters fixing their gazes on it. But just as those words came out of its mouth, the above emperor-level monster was thoroughly angered. With a loud slam, the ground shook and the big yellow dog was trampled under its feet. Yi Qingtang took a few steps back instinctively. The big yellow dog really was unafraid for its life. It was still provoking the above emperor-level monster with its words. That stomp alone was enough to kill her, let alone the big yellow dog. But she was stunned by what happened after that. The big yellow dog, which had been trampled by the above emperor-level monster, quickly sprang back up happily after the monster removed its foot. Damn! This must be a lie. She looked at the big yellow dog wagging its tail at her in shock. Was she dreaming? Not only was it not dead, but not a single hair on its body had also been harmed. Ouch, that hurt this animal. Looks like it's not going easy on me at all. How dare it step on me? It deserves 1,000 blows, the big yellow dog muttered. She was more and more surprised as she looked at the big yellow dog. Could it be hiding something? I'm angry. I'm really angry. You've made me really angry. You're a goner. The big yellow dog shouted angrily at the above emperor-level monster. Did you see that? It's not going easy on me at all. How dare it step on me? The big yellow dog said to Yi Qingtang. She was speechless. That much was obvious. I saw. Finish it. I'm nothing but your child if I don't get rid of it today, the big yellow dog continued to mutter. Yi Qingtang smiled. There was no way she would be able to give birth to a dog. With that, the big yellow dog's eye gleamed red. The above emperor-level monster was hit by a red light, and under Yi Qingtang's disbelieving gaze, it dissolved into ashes which floated away, as though it had been incinerated by intense heat. My God! Yi Qingtang looked at the big yellow dog in a brand new light. The above emperor-level monster had been killed in one hit by this big yellow dog. Chapter 2447. It'll bring you to search for it, too. Not only that, but this above emperor-level monster was much stronger than those other ones. It was considered an elite among the above emperor-level monsters. No way, how did it turn into ashes? With that, the big yellow dog sniffed and wagged its tail as it conveyed the message. At that moment, Yi Qingtang's mood was indescribable. Would this dog hold a grudge? She had punched it just now. If it did, perhaps she should prepare to escape? But on second thought, the big yellow dog had insisted that she punch it in the face. The dog had asked for it. Surely it wouldn't bear a grudge, right? Just as Yi Qingtang was deep in thought, the big yellow dog wagged its tail and dragged a burnt object to her side. Luckily, it wasn't completely burnt to ashes. Have you eaten dinner? The big yellow dog sat on the ground and looked at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang instinctively shook her head. Not eaten. Let's eat together then. The big yellow dog dragged the charred object to Yi Qingtang. What is this? Yi Qingtang asked in disdain. Oh, I think it's an arm or a thigh. Otherwise, it's the stomach or something. If it's already burned like this, who would still recognize it? I don't usually eat things like this, the big yellow dog said seriously. Yi Qingtang was a little speechless. This fellow, was it planning to eat the meat of an above emperor-level monster? It must be kidding. Eat quickly. Don't stand on ceremony, you must be starving, said the yellow dog. No, no, no. You eat. I'm full. Yi Qingtang was embarrassed. Who wanted to eat such revolting food? Then I guess I'll help myself. As the yellow dog spoke, it bit the charred object. Pfft, what the heck is this? It's filled with resentment. It's too disgusting. The big yellow dog had a look of disdain. Yi Qingtang was speechless. Do you have food? The big yellow dog's gaze landed on Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang immediately took out some food and threw it on the ground. Do you really treat me as a dog? The big yellow dog's tone was dissatisfied. This is beef. Forget it if you don't want it, Yi Qingtang said. Of course I want it. Who said I'm not eating? But you threw it on the ground for me to eat. Isn't that an insult to me? The big yellow dog grunted. Yi Qingtang replied. Then what do you want? Take the beef and bring it to my mouth. How about that? The big yellow dog asked. Yi Qingtang was stunned. She thought for a moment. Was it asking her to feed it? You're not my dog, Yi Qingtang said. What are you saying? The big yellow dog wagged its tail. I'm not someone else's dog either. But she was now at the mercy of this big yellow dog. Its strength was unfathomable, so she had no choice but to be humble. The taste is alright, but there's too much salt. I'm a dog, so I can't eat too much salt. Help me rinse it first next time, the yellow dog said. Yi Qingtang was a little speechless. It had so many requests. Oh right, don't you have a master? Yi Qingtang asked with a smile after the big yellow dog was full. What do you mean by that? Can you give me some respect? I'm not a guard dog. The big yellow dog muttered. What are you? Yi Qingtang was curious. I'm a pitiful dog, the big yellow dog said. Yi Qingtang was speechless. What kind of demon was this? Then don't you have a companion? Yi Qingtang changed her words. I have no companions. I've only been awake for 3 to 4 days. Yi Qingtang was deep in thought. Could it be that this big yellow dog was not lying? It was indeed true that it had been sleeping in the Wailing Well and had only woken up recently. Chapter 2448. I'll bring you to search for it 3. Oh, that's right. Why are you so weak? I'll be honest with you. I've never seen anyone as weak as you. The big yellow dog stared at her. Yi Qingtang was speechless. She was considered weak? Even a newborn baby wouldn't be afraid of monsters formed from grievances, right? The yellow dog continued. Yi Qingtang didn't know how to respond. Was this dog crazy? A newborn baby wasn't afraid of above emperor level monsters? Was it still in some kind of dreamland? Sai, let's drop that topic. Let me ask you, how should we get out of this place? The big yellow dog seemed a little bored when it saw that Yi Qingtang remained silent. I know how to get out. Yi Qingtang smiled. Really? The big yellow dog wagged its tail. Bring me out then. It's not a problem for me to bring you out. However, you have to promise me one thing, Yi Qingtang said. All right, as long as you can bring me out, I will even learn to bark like a dog. Yi Qingtang glanced at the big yellow dog. It had already barked when it was facing that above emperor level monster earlier on. I was separated from my students. Accompany me to find my students first before we leave together. How about that? Yi Qingtang asked. Students? The big yellow dog seemed to be in thought. Which immortal abode are you teaching at? Immortal abode? What on earth was this dog talking about? Forget it. Let's find your students first, the big yellow dog said. Don't be so anxious. The Wailing Well is too big, so we have to search carefully, Yi Qingtang explained. I don't know where they are right now. The dog said nonchalantly. It's no big deal, that's a piece of cake. I'll help you find them. As it spoke, the big yellow dog walked to Yi Qingtang and more or less rubbed its nose against her. What are you doing? Yi Qingtang asked. You were with your students previously, so you definitely have their scent on you. I can make use of the scent to find them, the big yellow dog explained. Yi Qingtang was speechless. Although she had lived 2 lives, this was the first time she knew of such a thing. All right, done, the big yellow dog said after sniffing Yi Qingtang. You seem to have interacted with many people previously. Most of them are gathered in one place, but the auras of a few of them have already dissipated, the yellow dog said. Yi Qingtang's heart tightened. Let's go. I'll take you there. The big yellow dog wagged its tail. and walked forward slowly. How far away are they? Yi Qingtang asked. Not far. Just a few 100 kilometers, the big yellow dog said. It was indeed not that far. However, the Wailing Well was filled with danger, and Yi Qingtang and the yellow dog did not travel too hastily. Although Yi Qingtang was much more assured with this big yellow dog, she felt that it was not that trustworthy and could not be relied on entirely. Give me something to eat. I'm hungry. The big yellow dog smiled at Yi Qingtang in the latter half of the day. Didn't you already eat earlier on? Despite saying that, Yi Qingtang took out some beef and handed it to the dog. After the big yellow dog had its fill, it continued on the journey in satisfaction. After an unknown period of time, we're here, the big yellow dog finally said. In front of them were several streams. From what they could see, an above emperor-level monster was wandering around as well. Yi Qingtang looked at the dog in confusion. Where are they? How would I know? You also have this beast's scent on you. The big yellow dog was a little embarrassed. Yi Qingtang stared at it. Wasn't this the same above emperor-level monster they had encountered previously? Chapter 2449. Are you playing a prank on me? 1. At that moment, Yi Qingtang's lips twitched as she looked at the big yellow dog wagging its tail beside her. Was this dog playing a prank on her? She was looking for her students. Her human students. When did she ask for it to bring her to an above emperor-level monster? Did it look like she wanted to die? The big yellow dog glanced at her and said, I say, is this your so-called student? What do you think? Yi Qingtang asked unhappily. What do you mean by that? How would I know? However, even if that monster is your student, it shouldn't be strange. As the saying goes, there are all sorts of strange things in the world. When the forest is big, there are all kinds of birds, right? Yi Qingtang was speechless. Search again. Yi Qingtang tried her best to calm herself down and said to the big yellow dog, Give me some beef to eat first. When I'm hungry I can't move, the big yellow dog said to Yi Qingtang. Exasperated, Yi Qingtang took out some beef from her dwindling reserves and shared it with the yellow dog. After entering the Wailing Well, she could not use her interspatial ring. Therefore, the rations that Yi Qingtang brought in from the outside were all that she carried with her. Everyone in the team had prepared a little, only enough for a person for a few days. The big yellow dog's appetite was huge, and at this rate, Yi Qingtang estimated that her rations would only be able to last another 3 to 4 days. After that, she would really have to eat the above emperor-level monster roasted by the big yellow dog. Give me more. After the big yellow dog finished eating, it wagged its tail at Yi Qingtang, as if it wanted more. Yi Qingtang smiled. Good boy. I will give you more when we find my students. Then why are you still standing there? Hurry up. You can move faster, so let me ride on you. I have to conserve energy. I'm too hungry, the yellow dog said. Yi Qingtang was dumbstruck. What did this yellow dog just say? Let it ride on her? How? Yi Qingtang stared at the big yellow dog in a daze. Up to you. You can carry me or put me on your shoulders. I don't think so. Yi Qingtang shook her head. Never mind. You can also place me on your head. Yi Qingtang was speechless. Forget it. She would just carry it. With that, Yi Qingtang grabbed the big yellow dog and carried it. Lead the way, Yi Qingtang said to the big yellow dog in her arms. Very quickly, carrying the big yellow dog, Yi Qingtang turned into an afterimage, disappearing from where she was instantly and dashing into the distance. Are you a woman? Can you be gentler? I'm going to suffocate in your arms, the big yellow dog said unhappily. If you spout more nonsense, you can travel on your own legs. Yi Qingtang glanced at the big yellow dog impatiently. Was this a dog? This big yellow dog was even fussier than a human. Wait a moment. Just as Yi Qingtang was about to scold the dog, it suddenly spoke. Yi Qingtang stopped instantly and looked at it with a frown. What's wrong? I want to poop, the big yellow dog said to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang. Could someone come and save her? A few hours later, Yi Qingtang brought the big yellow dog to a stretch of barren land. Is that the moon? Yi Qingtang looked up into the sky with a strange expression. What moon? They're all energy bodies formed from grievances, said the yellow dog. How did you know? Yi Qingtang was surprised. Chapter 2450. Are you playing a prank on me? 2. How did I know this? I should be asking you why you don't even know something as basic as this? The big yellow dog seemed to be even more confused. Yi Qingtang's lips twitched as if she wanted to say something, but she kept silent in the end. Should she know about this? This energy body is formed from resentment, fear, and death. The more energy there is, the more obvious the condensed energy body will be. This moon is nothing. If the energy body is a little bigger, it can even form the sun. What is this energy body for? Yi Qingtang asked curiously. The big yellow dog stared at the energy body that resembled the moon in the sky, and pondered for a long time. In the end it said, How would I know? This thing has many uses, and most of them are used by evil immortals. Evil immortals? Yi Qingtang realized that she seemed to have no way to continue conversing with this big yellow dog. What were evil immortals? However, it's so strange. This energy body is too weak. If it's an evil immortal, I think it should be at least 100 energy bodies in the form of the sun. Who knows what this is? It has nothing to do with me anyway, the yellow dog continued. All right, let's continue to find my students, Yi Qingtang said. Continue to find? They're all here. The big yellow dog wagged its tail. We're here. Yi Qingtang was stunned. This place was barren, and there was no one around. Where are they? Yi Qingtang asked. They are in the palace up front, the big yellow dog explained. Palace? Yi Qingtang scanned her surroundings. She did not even see a brick, much less a palace. Almost subconsciously, Yi Qingtang took 2 steps back and kept a distance from the big yellow dog. If it became rabid, would it bite her again? What are you doing? Why are you moving away? Come here. The big yellow dog wagged its tail when it saw Yi Qingtang stepping back. No need. Here is just fine, Yi Qingtang said with a smile. Let's go into the palace to take a look. The big yellow dog ignored Yi Qingtang and walked straight ahead. She saw the big yellow dog walk toward a patch of yellow sand and use its head to push hard at empty air. It looked like it was straining against something. Come on, why are you still standing there? Help me push open the palace door. I can't move it. The big yellow dog turned around and shouted at Yi Qingtang. At that moment, Yi Qingtang forced a smile and could only agree as she walked forward carefully to the yellow dog. Come, I'll give the signal and we'll push at the same time, the big yellow dog said. Yi Qingtang. All right, chicken leg beef bone. As it spoke, the yellow dog pushed against the air with all its might. Yi Qingtang was speechless. What kind of signal was that? Touching the air in front of her, Yi Qingtang couldn't help but feel doubtful. Indeed, it was air. It was not some palace that was invisible. How was there a palace here? Wasn't it just empty air? Strange. Why isn't it moving at all? The big yellow dog looked at Yi Qingtang. Are you pushing at all? That's why it can't be opened. All right, I'm doing it now. Yi Qingtang smiled awkwardly and pushed forward. Yi Qingtang seemed to be pushing with all her strength. She then said to the dog, This door is so sturdy. I can't push it either. Why don't we find another palace? Look, there's another palace in front. Let's push the one over there. Chapter 2451. Are you playing a prank on me? 3. The big yellow dog was taken aback by her words. It subconsciously looked in the direction Yi Qingtang was pointing at before gazing back at her. Are you playing a prank on me? Where's the palace? Yi Qingtang asked. You are the one who played a prank on me first. How can there be a palace here? The big yellow dog wagged its tail. Isn't this a palace? Yi Qingtang sneered and pointed forward with her right hand. Isn't that a palace too? Can't you see the palace here? The big yellow dog sat on the ground and scratched its head with its hind paws. I don't see it, Yi Qingtang said without hesitation. Since you can't see the palace, why did you push the door? The yellow dog was confused. Yi Qingtang smiled. I was worried you had turned crazy and would bite me. The big yellow dog suddenly stood up and stared at Yi Qingtang. I understand now. You're too weak and can't see the palaces here. These palaces are formed by special energy bodies. Go on. I will bark like a dog if I ever believe you, Yi Qingtang said. Don't underestimate me. I have a way to let you see. The big yellow dog stared at Yi Qingtang. Use my tears to wipe the corners of your eyes and you will see. Yi Qingtang was speechless. All right, tell me 2 sad stories first, the big yellow dog said. Yi Qingtang said, there was a dog who got mad dog disease and died. The big yellow dog said, why are you staring at me? Continue. Yi Qingtang shook her head. The end. What sad story? Wasn't her current situation tragic enough? Sigh, forget it. I didn't expect you to be so weak. You don't even know how to tell a story. You have no strength and no eloquence. You're really a rare piece of trash. The big yellow dog sighed. In that case, grab a handful of sand and throw it at my face. This I'm good at. As Yi Qingtang spoke, she grabbed a lot of yellow sand and threw it at the dog's face. Too much. It's all thrown into my eyes. Quick, blow at them. The big yellow dog hurriedly tottered over to Yi Qingtang and rubbed its head against her calf. Yi Qingtang was speechless. What the hell? All right, here are the tears. Hurry up and dab the corners of your eyes with them, said the yellow dog. If you dare to lie to me, I promise you won't be able to eat beef for the rest of your life. Yi Qingtang gritted her teeth, but she did want to see if there was really a palace in this place. With that, Yi Qingtang followed the yellow dog's instructions and dabbed its tears at the corners of her eyes. A moment later, Yi Qingtang opened her eyes again and looked ahead. Yi Qingtang was speechless. Yi Qingtang swore that in her 2 lifetimes, she had never been tricked so thoroughly. Moreover, what Yi Qingtang could not accept the most was that the one who tricked her was actually a lousy dog. Where was this so-called palace? Her surroundings looked exactly the same as before. Looking around, there was only yellow sand. Where's the palace? Yi Qingtang stared at the big yellow dog with a stern expression. The big yellow dog wagged its tail when it heard that. What a coincidence. The palace just entered a concealed state, but it's fine. It'll appear soon. A palace constructed from energy bodies is very unstable. Do you think I can kick you to death if I use all my strength? Yi Qingtang asked thoughtfully. I think you will just be wasting your energy. With your lousy strength, I think you will exert yourself to death, while I won't even lose a strand of hair, the yellow dog said matter-of-factly. Chapter 2452. Space Technique 1. Yi Qingtang stared at the dog and was silent for a few seconds before cupping her fists. Thank you for your time. Goodbye. Sigh, where are you going? The big yellow dog shouted hurriedly when it saw Yi Qingtang turning around to leave. From now on we will part ways. Don't follow me. Yi Qingtang was afraid that the big yellow dog would follow her. Initially, she thought that she had chanced upon a great savior. Now, it seemed like it was her curse instead. If she stayed with this big yellow dog for a few more days, she would probably be angered to death. Look, the palace is out. Suddenly, the big yellow dog shouted. Yi Qingtang stopped in her tracks. If she turned around now and there was no palace, it would be the equivalent of being tricked by the big yellow dog yet again. If that happened, she would probably fight it to the death. After pondering for a moment, Yi Qingtang finally turned around. The moment Yi Qingtang turned around, she was completely stunned. Nearby, an incomparably majestic palace had appeared out of thin air, shocking Yi Qingtang. Almost subconsciously, Yi Qingtang looked at the palace and sized up the big yellow dog. What do you say now? I'm not lying to you, right? You're too strange. It's normal for a palace constructed from energy bodies to be unstable. How is it that you don't even know this kind of general knowledge? You're really an embarrassment to Shirtian. The big yellow dog countered as it stared at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang was speechless. How many times did she have to explain herself? Who the hell was Shirtian? She really did not know him. Setting Shirtian aside, she had indeed misunderstood the dog in the matter of this palace. Yi Qingtang looked at the dog and smiled. Dog, I was wrong. I apologize to you. The big yellow dog glanced at Yi Qingtang and did not say anything. Let's go in first, Yi Qingtang said eagerly. Wait! The big yellow dog stopped Yi Qingtang. What's wrong? Yi Qingtang looked puzzled. I have to clarify something first. This palace is used to capture prey. It's easy to enter, but difficult to come out, the yellow dog said. Capture prey? Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. That's right. A palace constructed from such energy bodies is generally used to capture prey. Any creature that enters it will become a part of the energy body. However, going by their aura now, your students probably haven't been in there for long. They probably haven't died yet, the big yellow dog explained. Yi Qingtang now firmly believed in whatever the big yellow dog said. Yi Qingtang remained silent. She had to think of a way. She absolutely could not just stand by and let her students die such wretched deaths. However, you don't have to be afraid. A palace of this level isn't even worth a fart in my eyes. I have divine powers. If you bring me along, the palace won't be able to do anything to us. The big yellow dog wagged its tail. Yi Qingtang was speechless. It should have told her about its divine powers earlier. With that, Yi Qingtang no longer hesitated and immediately pushed the door open. Just as the yellow dog had said, it was indeed very easy to enter the palace. Yi Qingtang had just pushed open the palace door a crack when human and dog were both sucked in. When Yi Qingtang opened her eyes again, Qin Feng, Nangong Lai, and the rest were staring at her in confusion. After staring at Yi Qingtang a few moments longer, Lei Yin quickly looked away and said, Damn, I'm done for. I'm really about to die. I'm hallucinating. Do you know who I just saw? I saw Boss. That's right. Boss must be missing me too much and is here to fetch me away. Chapter 2453, Space Technique, 2. Yi Qingtang glanced at him. Why are you still fooling around at a time like this? Tears and mucus streamed down Lei Yan's face. Indeed, Boss is talking to me too. It must be Boss Ghost coming to fetch me. Boss, can you take someone else first? Damn, Boss Ghost is really here to pick me up. I see it too. The two of us are having the same hallucination. Nangong Lai looked at Lei Yan with an expression filled with emotion. Seriously? Boss even brought a dog. Lei Yan said to Nangong Lai. That's right, it's a big yellow dog. Nangong Lai nodded. Yi Qingtang was speechless. Boss! Suddenly, Qin Feng stood up with excitement in his eyes and strode towards Yi Qingtang. Seeing this, Nangong Lai pounced over and hugged Qin Feng's leg. Don't! If you go over now, Boss will definitely take you away. Yi Qingtang was dumbstruck. How did she end up producing such a bunch of foolish students? Yi Qing, you're not? Lu Yuanxiang was the first to come to his senses and stare at her in disbelief. After all, he had seen with his own eyes that Yi Qingtang was killed by that above emperor-level monster. How could she be standing in front of them alive? Was it really as Nangong Lai and the rest had said? Had Yi Qingtang returned as a ghost? Stop making stupid guesses. I'm not dead, Yi Qingtang said in exasperation. Boss, it's really you. Mu Ziying hugged her. I knew that Boss would definitely be fine. Seriously? Am I dreaming? Nangong Lai smacked his own face. That's great, Teacher Yi Qing. I knew you would be fine. At that moment, the teacher from Flying Star Academy stepped forward. The Flying Star Academy had also suffered heavy losses. More than half of the students in the team had been killed or injured, leaving only this teacher and a few students. Yi Qing, I clearly saw you being. Lu Yuanxiang was confused as he looked at the living Yi Qing. I understand your doubts. However, this is not the time to discuss this. Let's leave first, Yi Qingtang said. Oh no. Lu Yuanxiang's expression changed instantly. Yi Qing, you shouldn't have entered this palace. Qin Feng and the others instantly came to their senses as well. They had originally just wanted to find a random place to rest, and this palace appeared out of nowhere. Now they were trapped inside. The palace door could not be pushed open at all. Yi Qingtang suddenly understood. If they were from the outside world, it was impossible for them to see this palace. But this palace could take the initiative to appear and capture its prey, imprisoning them in the palace. Noon could leave, and they would eventually become a part of the body of energy. Boss, what should we do now? Yunchen looked at her. They had felt lost ever since Yi Qing was gone. But now that Yi Qing had reappeared in front of them, things were different. They believed that if their boss could come back from the dead, she would definitely have a way to bring them out of here. No worries. Since I'm here, I will have a way to bring you all out. Yi Qingtang looked at the big yellow dog. Everyone was stunned. Why was Yi Qing looking at the big yellow dog after saying he would bring them out? Don't worry. With me by your side, it's too easy to get out. The yellow dog was confident. Chapter 2454. Space Technique 3. Lu Yuanxiang and the Flying Star Academy teacher were completely stunned. The big yellow dog. Did it speak just now? It's a mutated beast, Yi Qingtang explained hurriedly. Mutated beast? But I don't detect anything. Lu Yuanxiang was confused. Yes, it is more special and can hide its aura. Yi Qingtang casually found an excuse. Since Yi Qingtang said so, Lu Yuanxiang and the Flying Star Academy teacher did not think too much about it. Sigh, oh no, the yellow dog suddenly said. What's wrong? Yi Qingtang looked at the big yellow dog and frowned. Nothing could go wrong at this critical moment. My divine power malfunctioned. The big yellow dog's tone was anxious. How is that possible? Why can't I sense any spatial fluctuations? This shouldn't be happening. It doesn't make sense. Yi Qingtang was flabbergasted. She shouldn't have trusted the dog. Meanwhile, in the outside world, when Qi stared at the screen with a solemn expression, he had seen Yi Qing from the video recording ball that Luo Sheng brought with him. Then, he disappeared before reappearing in this mysterious palace. Although when Qi and the others couldn't hear the conversations of the people on the screen, they could make a rough guess. This palace was not a refuge. Instead, it was a land of death. It was probably impossible for Yi Qing to leave after entering this palace. How are they to leave that palace? One of the vice presidents asked with a frown. When Qi shook his head, even with his vast experience, he didn't know either. He just felt that the palace was not that simple. It would be impossible for them to leave so easily. After all, Lu Yuanxiang and the Flying Star Academy teacher had been trapped for so long. Inside the palace in the Wailing Well, everyone was at a loss at what to do, as the big yellow dog continued to mumble to itself. Spatial fluctuation. Yi Qingtang was deep in thought. In that case, would they be able to leave as long as they could activate the power of space? Yi Qingtang focused her mind and communicated with her mysterious spiritual abode. Although no one else detected anything, the big yellow dog suddenly looked at Yi Qingtang. Oh, that's a pretty good spiritual abode, the big yellow dog muttered. However, the big yellow dog could tell that it was not realistic for Yi Qingtang to communicate with that spiritual abode at her current skill level. Alright, I'll help you. The big yellow dog swung its tail at Yi Qingtang. In the next second, Yi Qingtang disappeared from the palace in front of everyone, leaving only the big yellow dog wagging its tail. The outside world. What happened? One of the vice presidents stared at the screen. His pupils dilated in shock when he saw Yi Qing disappear from the palace. How is it possible? Even when she was shocked. Yi Qing disappeared from the palace just like that? How did he do it? It can't be the space technique, right? The vice president of the Sky Martial Academy frowned. Before the Sky Martial Academy vice president could say anything, Yi Qing reappeared on the screen again. It was like he had never left at all. If they had not seen Yi Qing disappear with their own eyes, it would have been as if nothing had happened. Could it be that Yi Qing has found another way out of the palace? A vice president suggested this possibility. He would never believe that Yi Qing really knew how to use the space technique. Chapter 2455. Bringing you to the new world. 1. When Qi fell silent as he watched Yi Qing suddenly disappear from the screen. In fact, he did not even consider the space technique. He wondered if Yi Qing had really found another way to leave the palace. After all, they were in the outside world, and could only understand the situation inside the Wailing Well through the screen. They could not hear anything, and could only rely on their own guesses. Inside the palace in the Wailing Well, Nangong Lai, Mu Ziying, and the rest were stunned. Their boss had actually disappeared without a trace in front of them. Where's boss? Lei Yin looked around. However, there was no sign of their boss in the palace. It was as if Yi Qing had never appeared. Jing Zhe and Yun Chen looked at each other with strange expressions. Lu Yuanxiang and the Flying Star Academy teacher were also confused. Yi Qing had been standing right before them, but disappeared in the blink of an eye. It was difficult to understand. Could it be that teacher Yi Qing has found a way to leave this palace? The Flying Star Academy teacher's expression shifted. Lu Yuanxiang and the others were stunned by his words. If Yi Qing really knew the way to leave the palace, they would be saved. By the side, the big yellow dog shook its tail and gazed at the people in the palace, shaking its head. It realized that it was wrong. Previously, it thought that Yi Qingtang was the weakest human it had ever seen. But now it seemed that these people were even weaker than her. They were ridiculously weak. They couldn't even detect the mysterious deity ocean in Yi Qingtang's body. At that moment, the big yellow dog tilted its head and thought. With her current skill level, there was no way she could control the deity ocean in her body. Now that it had given her a boost and helped her enter the deity ocean, would she encounter any danger? If she accidentally died in the deity ocean, it would probably be trapped in this damned low-class palace for eternity. However, before the dog could think further, there was a flash and Yi Qingtang reappeared. Yi Qingtang was confused. Others could not understand what had happened, much less her. Just now, she had tried to reconnect with her deity ocean, but it was like a closed door that could not be pushed at all. However, the big yellow dog wagged its tail at her, and she actually entered. What shocked Yi Qingtang even more was that when she entered the deity ocean space this time, the eastern demons were being chased by the heavenly demon tribe. Falling from the sky, Yi Qingtang had crashed into one of the demons from the heavenly demon tribe. Yi Qingtang's crash completely infuriated the heavenly demon tribe. Casting all other concerns aside, they attacked Yi Qingtang with all their might. She had never seen such a huge battle array before, and immediately turned tail and ran. After being chased by the heavenly demon tribe over a lengthy period, she finally reconnected with the deity ocean and escaped. Otherwise, she would have lost her life. Yi Qingtang was exasperated. She had only accidentally knocked into one of their demons. It wasn't even harmed, but they treated her like she was their mortal enemy. Weren't they overreacting? Boss! Mu Ziying, Qin Feng, and the rest looked at each other in dismay when they noticed Yi Qing's strange expression. For a moment there, the atmosphere was a little tense. Outside, when Wen Qi and the other vice presidents saw that Yi Qing had returned to the palace, they were even more certain that Yi Qing's disappearance earlier definitely had nothing to do with the so-called space technique. Instead, it was very likely that Yi Qing had found another way to leave the palace. Chapter 2456, bringing you to the new world, too. At that moment, Yi Qingtang still had a lingering fear from her earlier experience, and if given a choice, she never wanted to return to that place again. If she was unlucky and fell into a group of demons, wouldn't she be skinned alive? Teacher Yi Qing? Lu Yuanxiang could not help calling out when he saw that Yi Qing kept hesitating to speak. Finally collecting herself, Yi Qingtang said, I believe everyone saw that I do have a way to leave this place. The expressions of Lu Yuanxiang and the Flying Star Academy teacher changed drastically as indescribable excitement filled their eyes. Teacher Yi Qing, are you serious? Lu Yuanxiang asked anxiously. Yi Qingtang nodded slightly. Of course. I can bring everyone out of here. Good. Then, Teacher Yi Qing, there's no time to lose. Let's hurry out. The Flying Star Academy teacher was overjoyed. Lu Yuanxiang and the Flying Star Academy teacher were not the only ones. Qin Feng, Mu Ziying, and the other students were also excited. Initially, they thought they would die in this godforsaken place. Never did they expect their boss to suddenly appear. and bring them out of this desperate situation. However, Yi Qing's next sentence was like a splash of cold water on everyone. But let me clarify something. I have a way to leave the palace, but it's not safe. Perhaps the way to leave might be even more terrifying than being stuck here, Yi Qingtang said with a frown. Yi Qingtang was referring to the entire Wailing Well region when she said here. Teacher Yi Qing, what exactly do you mean? I don't understand. Lu Yuanxiang was confused. Since that's the case, I won't hide it anymore. Yi Qingtang decided to lie. She could not tell everyone the truth. Have you all heard of the space technique? Yi Qingtang asked. Of course, but I've only heard of it. Legend has it that the Supreme Being from the Temple of Paragon knows the space technique. The Flying Star Academy teacher nodded. Lu Yuanxiang seemed to have understood the meaning of Yi Qing's words, and looked at her in disbelief. Teacher Yi Qing, are you saying that you know the space technique? Yi Qingtang smiled at this. I'm not considered proficient. I've done some research and know a little about it. Lu Yuanxiang was not the only one. Everyone at present was stunned by Yi Qing's admission. Space technique, it was a god-level concept. They had never witnessed any divine techniques like the space technique before. Nangong Lai saw that the faces of Mu Ziying, Qin Feng, and the others had remained unchanged. He asked in surprise, aren't you guys shocked? Qin Feng and Mu Ziying shook their heads in unison. Nangong Lai smiled. Indeed, ever since their boss appeared in their lives, had there been any incident that had not shocked them? Even if he really did know the legendary space technique, it felt like it was no big deal. But Teacher Yi Qing, is there any danger to the space technique? Lu Yuanxiang asked with a frown. I said earlier that I'm not proficient in the space technique. I just know a little about it. The space realm is always changing, and I can't control it completely. Perhaps the space technique will bring us to a completely new and unfamiliar world. Yi Qing continued. The big yellow dog glanced at Yi Qingtang. It didn't know that this human's deception skills were so high level. If it did not know the real truth, it would have been deceived by her too. Chapter 2457, Bringing You to the New World 3. Of course, the big yellow dog was not so foolish as to expose Yi Qingtang. Have you all considered the risks? If anything bad happens, I don't want to be held responsible, Yi Qingtang said. Boss, I'll come with you. Qin Feng was the first to express his stand. Me too. As long as boss is around, I'm not afraid of any dangers. Mu Ziying nodded in agreement. Space technique. A brand new and unknown world. Being able to experience it for myself won't be a loss even if I die. If I can come out alive, this will definitely be enough for me to brag about for the rest of my life. I don't care about anything else, I want to go. Lei Yin said hurriedly. In any case, staying in this palace was as good as just waiting for death. Only a fool would not agree to try. Needless to say, Lu Yuanxiang and the Flying Star Academy teacher and students all agreed without hesitation. Even if their luck was extremely bad, going to a completely new and unfamiliar world was still better than waiting for death here. Moreover, they didn't think their luck would be that bad. Perhaps they would be directly transported to the outside world. One had to be optimistic. If you only thought about all the bad things that could happen, you might as well just drop dead now, no? At that moment, when Qi and the other vice presidents outside looked at the screen in confusion, they were all bewildered, and did not know what Yi Qing and the rest were talking about. Just as when Qi was about to speak, the screen instantly fell into darkness, and there was no longer any image left. What happened? When Qi asked in surprise. The Flying Star Academy vice president encountered the same situation as when Qi. Their screen had also turned dark. Why did the video recording ball malfunction? One of the vice presidents frowned deeply. Unless something in particular happened. What thing in particular? Spatial fluctuation. When Yi Qingtang opened her eyes again, she was greeted by a lush green forest. The unbearable stench of blood and grievance in the air was no longer present. It was peaceful. Actually, Yi Qingtang did not know if she could bring others into her deity ocean space. It had been a desperate last resort kind of move. She did not expect it to really work. This is. Nan Gonglai hurriedly got up and looked around. He breathed in the fresh air greedily. We're out. Lu Yuanxiang and the Flying Star Academy teacher also hurriedly got up and looked around excitedly. Teacher Yi Qing, you're really a god, Lu Yuanxiang said to her. He never thought that Yi Qing actually knew the legendary space technique. This was simply unbelievable. Teacher Yi Qing, you're my savior. The Flying Star Academy teacher seemed even more excited than Lu Yuanxiang. Initially, he thought that he would be trapped in the palace until he died. Who would have thought that he would be breathing fresh air in the outside world again? Ha ha ha, looks like our luck isn't that bad. On the contrary, it's very good. Teacher Yi Qing used space technique to bring us back to the outside world. The Flying Star Academy teacher suddenly gritted his teeth and continued. Those bastards from Universe City must give us an explanation. Yi Qingtang held her forehead. These people still did not understand the situation. A soft sigh left her lips. Her deity ocean power had been at low levels in the first place. Now that she had brought so many people in, her deity ocean power had been completely exhausted. She would need a period of time to recover. And during this period, she couldn't continue to connect with the deity ocean and take them away. So why were they so excited? Chapter 2458. Bringing you to the New World 4. The big yellow dog wagged its tail and sniffed the air before it glanced at the cheering crowd and said, I say, aren't you guys celebrating too soon? Come smell the air here. What do you mean? Yinchen was confused. Yi Qingtang felt like smacking her own face. These people were really slow. Don't you guys think that the quality of the spirit energy here is very high? Yi Qing, who had been silent all this while, suddenly asked. Only then did everyone realize something. Previously, because they had just escaped death, they had been too excited to think so much. Teacher Yi Qing, the quality of the spirit energy here is indeed too high. Lu Yuanxiang was shocked. He had never felt such rich and high-quality spirit energy in his life. Even the top spirit energy room in an elite academy was not even 1,000th as good as this place. This is an excellent place to cultivate. Apart from the initial shock, the Flying Star Academy teacher also felt ecstatic. If he were to cultivate here for a period of time, he would definitely be able to break through the bottleneck that he had been stuck at for the past 7 to 8 years. What kind of divine place was this? Yi Qingtang's lips twitched. Great, they still did not recognize the reality. Before Yi Qingtang could say anything, sounds of fighting came from afar. Yi Qingtang moved toward the source of the noise. Lu Yuanxiang, the Flying Star Academy teacher, and the students followed Yi Qing without hesitation. A moment later, Yi Qingtang arrived at a small hill. She carefully popped her head out and examined the area below. Lu Yuanxiang, the Flying Star Academy teacher, and the rest followed suit and carefully stuck their heads out like Yi Qing. What is that? Lu Yuanxiang stared at the chaotic battle between hundreds of demons and trembled violently. He had never seen such a scene in his life. The auras emitted by those beasts were suffocating. Some of them were even more terrifying than the above Emperor level monsters in the Wailing Well. Strictly speaking, an above Emperor level monster had only just breached the Emperor level. But the beasts before them had true Emperor level auras. Moreover, these auras were even more ancient and astounding. Those are demons, Yi Qingtang said coldly. Demons? Teacher Yi Qing, you are saying that those beasts are demons? Cold sweat broke out on the Flying Star Academy teacher's forehead. Demons? They had only seen them in pictures. None of them had seen a real demon before. This was the first time they were looking at demons. And they were already looking at such a massive number. Why are there humans down there too? Lu Yuanxiang was confused. Indeed, there were human figures among the demons. Yi Qingtang smiled. They're not humans. They're demons in human skin. Everyone gasped at her words. Wearing human skin. Demons like human skin the most. When they see humans, they will completely peel off their human skin and put it on themselves, Yi Qingtang said. At that moment, the crowd began to realize what had happened. No wonder the spiritual energy here was so rich, and the quality so high. This was not their world. They had felt so happy and relieved earlier, but now, they all fell into a daze. They had clearly left the wolf's den, just to land in the tiger's lair. With their lowly skill levels, wouldn't they be skinned alive by those demons? Boss, how did you return to the palace earlier? I left something back there and need to go back and get it. Lei Yin looked at Yi Qingtang in all seriousness. Chapter 2459. Meeting in Another Era 1. Is this the ancient god realm? The little azure dragon followed beside Ling Yan, with a slightly surprised expression. According to the legends, the most mysterious realm was the ancient god realm. There were no living creatures in the ancient god realm. Only the most ancient consciousnesses existed. Legend had it that the ancient god realm had existed since the world was created, but no one had ever been able to reach it. And in this world, only Ling Yin could do it. Karma bloodline? The little azure dragon stared at Ling Yin as it fell into deep thought. The only reason why Ling Yin could come to the ancient god realm was because of his karma bloodline. Since ancient times, the karma bloodline was one of a kind, and the ancient god realm was only open to those who had it. Step back. Ling Yin looked at the little azure dragon as he instructed. Although it did not know what Ling Yin wanted to do, the little azure dragon took a few steps back. Ancient god, listen to my summon. A red light flashed between Ling Yan's brows. As Ling Yan uttered those words, an illusory aura slowly approached. This is, sensing the illusory aura, the little azure dragon's body trembled. The azure dragon clan had a special ability, in that they were immune to auras. Even if they encountered a true immortal, they would not feel suppressed. Yet this illusory aura was like an insurmountable mountain. It carried an ancient aura, transporting one to an era that was billions of years ago. A blurry figure appeared in front of them. This figure seemed to have a reach of tens of millions of feet, as if it spanned from the beginning of the world to the end of it. Holder of the karma bloodline. The illusory figure swept across. A thunderous roar resounded in the air. Ling Yin only said, I need the wheel of destiny. Holder of the karma bloodline, I can try my best to help you, but you must pay the price. The voice returned. Agreed. Ling Yin did not hesitate at all. Once the oath is sworn, it cannot be destroyed. Are you willing to pay such a price? The ancient voice seemed a little surprised. Yes. All right, then it is agreed. With that, the figure gradually disappeared. Soon, a wheel of destiny appeared somewhere above. The wheel of destiny was not a physical object, but an ethereal aura. Ling Yan, are you crazy? After the ancient figure disappeared, the little azure dragon hurriedly ran over and looked at Ling Yan in disbelief. Did Ling Yan know what he had done? Why was he so crazy? There's not much time left, Ling Yan muttered. Is it because you blocked the karma for Yi Qingtang? So, you don't have much time left? The little azure dragon probed. That's one of the reasons. There's another reason, Ling Yan said. Another reason? The little azure dragon was confused. At that moment, the little azure dragon was a little frustrated. If its ancestors were here, they would definitely understand the meaning behind Ling Yan's words with their supreme intelligence. The Sun of Destiny is about to appear. At that moment, a karmic natal chart appeared in Ling Yan's hand. He spoke slowly as he stared at its contents. Sun of Destiny? What do you mean? The little azure dragon asked with a frown. The so-called Sun of Destiny is someone who controls all karmic luck. As long as the Sun of Destiny wants to, he can obtain everything he needs. He's someone chosen by the heavens. Ling Yan looked at the little azure dragon. Ling Yan, are you talking about Yi Qingtang? The little azure dragon was pondering, but Ling Yan shook his head. The Sun of Destiny will be our greatest enemy. Chapter 2460. Meeting in Another Era, 2. Ah! The little azure dragon was completely dumbfounded. The Sun of Destiny was their enemy? Ling Yan, are you sure? The little azure dragon's expression gradually turned solemn. I am certain, Ling Yan confirmed. Then do you know how strong the Son of Destiny is now? If he's a major foe, well, kill him in advance. A cold glint flashed across the little azure dragon's eyes. It had done this kind of thing countless times with Ling Yan. Although it was a little shameless, there was no harm in being shameless again. Ling Yan smiled. Naive. What do you mean? The little azure dragon was somewhat offended. Do you know what it means to be a son of destiny? He is the chosen one. Even if he's weak now, an immortal might not be able to kill him. Perhaps even I won't be able to, Ling Yan muttered. What should we do then? The little azure dragon was completely bewildered. This was the first time it had heard Ling Yan say that he was powerless. In this world, Ling Yan seemed omnipotent. He was a master player who used the world as his chessboard, and everything in it as his chess pieces. Everyone linked to him was a chess piece in his hands. However, just now this same man said that he couldn't do it. This is the calamity of the common people. It has finally begun. The appearance of the Son of Destiny is just the beginning. Ling Yan shook his head and sighed softly. Is there no other way? The little azure dragon did not doubt Ling Yan's words at all. There is. Ling Yan nodded slightly. What? The little azure dragon asked hurriedly. As long as there was a way, everything would be fine. The most terrifying thing was when there were no solutions at all. The person who will resolve this calamity is Miss Yi, Ling Yan said after a moment of thought. The little azure dragon was speechless. After going one big circle, it had come back to this again. Do you mean that little girl, Yi Qingtang, can settle the one chosen by the heavens? The little azure dragon asked anxiously. Logically speaking, that is the case, Ling Yan said. All right, let's go. Let's find that little girl Yi Qingtang. If there's really no other way, I'll bring her to our tribe. The great azure dragon god will impart her some skills, and then we'll kill that Son of Destiny together, the little azure dragon said. Ling Yan shook his head. I've calculated earlier that Miss Yi will ultimately die in the hands of the Son of Destiny. No matter what, she won't be able to overcome this hurdle, unless, visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Unless what? The little azure dragon's eyes turned cold. The secrets of the heavens must not be leaked. All you need to know is that I have transacted with that ancient god for the Wheel of Destiny. This might be our only chance, Ling Yan said. How confident are you? Less than 1%. Ling Yan did not try to hide anything. The little azure dragon said, less than 1%. We might as well wait for death. Just this 1% is enough for me to risk everything. Ling Yan was deep in thought. Immediately after, Ling Yan used the Wheel of Destiny given to him by the ancient god to condense all the spirit of chaos into a stream of light. In the next second, Ling Yan threw the Wheel of Destiny into the flowing light. This is the chaos domain. Staring at the stream of light in the void, the little azure dragon gasped. The little azure dragon never expected that the spirit of chaos, which Ling Yan had painstakingly gathered, was actually for the sake of opening the chaos realm. When the world first opened, it was filled with chaos. There was nothing else, only darkness. If they stepped into the chaotic realm, they would reach the peak of chaos. Perhaps something might happen there, something which even the heavens could not stop. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Please report us if you find any errors so we can fix it ASAP. Chapter 2461. Meeting in Another Era 3. In fact, the little azure dragon had even heard from its ancestors that when one reached the peak of chaos, you could make the sky lose its color and everything turn into foam and dust. One could rewrite history and make things that had never happened to come into existence. This was a change that no living being could understand. And this power to change was in the chaotic realm. Ling Yan, you want to enter the chaos realm? The little azure dragon was excited. Ling Yan smiled. I can't enter. What do you mean? The little azure dragon couldn't understand. Blood slowly flowed from the corner of Ling Yan's lips. At that moment, Ling Yan waved his right arm, and the stream of light in the air disappeared in an instant. as if it had left the ancient god realm. After doing this, Ling Yan's face turned pale as a faint smile appeared on his lips. Missy, it's all up to you now. We are destined to meet in another era. But after some time, the little azure dragon laughed. Ling Yan, oh Ling Yan, everyone says that a great man must be ruthless. And you are the most ruthless person I've ever seen. Inside Yi Qingtang's deity ocean. Boom! Yi Qingtang and the others, who were watching the demon battle, suddenly heard a loud bang. What's that? Lei Yin jumped in fright and looked around worriedly, afraid that the demons would notice him. Nangong Lai pointed at Yi Qingtang in surprise. Boss, you exploded. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. You're the one who exploded. Boss, you really exploded. Lei Yin looked at her. A strange expression appeared on Yi Qingtang's face, as she instinctively touched her pockets. Voice transmission stone. Yi Qingtang's face turned solemn when she looked at the shattered voice transmission stone. This was the voice transmission stone which Ling Yan had given her. All this while, Yi Qingtang had carried this voice transmission stone, so that she could contact Ling Yan anytime. What Yi Qingtang could not understand was that this voice transmission stone had been made with a very special material. It could withstand a full-scale attack by an emperor-level practitioner. In other words, even if Yi Qingtang herself was destroyed, the voice transmission stone would remain unscathed. So why did the voice transmission stone suddenly shatter? Little girl, can you still hear me? Suddenly, a vaguely familiar voice could be heard from the voice transmission stone. Little Azure Dragon? Yi Qingtang was surprised. Listen to me. You have to listen to me properly. From now on, you have to be careful of the person with a mark between his brows. Be it a man, woman, dog, or animal. Also keep this voice transmission stone properly. You must not lose it. However, after no matter what Yi Qingtang did, there was no more sound. Could something have happened to Ling Yan? For some reason, Yi Qingtang could not calm down. However, on second thought, she felt that it was unlikely. She could believe it was possible for something to happen to any other legendary figure in this world. But she would never believe that something could happen to Ling Yan. That man had everything under control. What could happen to him? Yi Qingtang stared at the shattered voice transmission stone. She had no choice but to wrap it up carefully before placing it in her space ring. Since the other party had instructed her not to lose it, it was better for her to do so. As for being careful of a person who had a red mark between his eyebrows, the image of her brother, the Blood Moon Holy Lord, instantly appeared in Yi Qingtang's mind. Did the little azure dragon mean for her to beware of the little Holy Lord Blood Moon? However, after thinking about it carefully, it seemed unlikely. Ling Yan knew of the Blood Moon Holy Lord. He would have just named him, if he wanted her to beware of him. There was no need to be so cryptic. Chapter 2462. Meeting in another era 4. The person was someone they didn't even know. Otherwise, they would not say such words. Furthermore, the Blood Moon Holy Lord was merely a clone. He had already vanished into thin air when she was in the first domain. It could be seen that the Blood Moon Holy Lord did not seem to have any great malice towards her. However, if that was the case, who was the person with the red mark between his brows that the little azure dragon mentioned earlier? She had never provoked such a person before, so why should she beware of him? For a moment there, Yi Qingtang was also confused. However, for some reason, she found herself unwittingly concerned and sensitive about this matter. She instinctively looked towards the glabella of Nangong Lai, Lei Yan and the others. After examining everyone, Yi Qingtang looked at the space between the yellow dog's eyebrows. What are you looking at? The big yellow dog wagged its tail and asked Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang rolled her eyes. Boss, that was a voice transmission stone just now, right? Mu Ziying looked at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang nodded slightly. It was indeed a voice transmission stone. It was no big secret. The voice that came from the voice transmission stone just now. Why did it call you little girl? Little girl? Nangong Lai stared at Yi Qingtang in shock and disbelief. Yi Qingtang. Oh my god, boss, who is that? So disgusting. And even called you a little girl. Is he a pervert? Nangong Lai said. Yes, a very good friend. I'm used to it. Yi Qingtang chuckled. Boss, you're right. I have a childhood friend who keeps calling me Little Yan. If I could defeat him, I would definitely kill him. But boss, your friend is even more extreme. Comparatively speaking, that childhood friend of mine is rather polite. Lei Yan seemed to be deep in thought. I don't think this is the time to discuss that. By the side, Lu Yuanxiang was already drenched in cold sweat as he watched the battle between the demons below. This was the first time Lu Yuanxiang had seen a demon with his own eyes in his entire life. Furthermore, the strength of these demons was too terrifying. Even though they were so far away from him, the aura exuded by the demons made him tremble in fear. All of them, including Yi Qingtang, would definitely die if they met a powerful demon head-on. These demons were different from the above Emperor-level monsters in the Wailing Well. Those monsters did not have any intelligence, and were just mindless killing machines. If you encountered an above Emperor-level monster in the Wailing Well, you might still have a chance to live. But if you met the demons in this realm, you would definitely die. What are you afraid of? They haven't noticed us. Qin Feng spoke. The current situation might really be a little better than their situation in the Wailing Well. Teacher Yi Qing, what do we do now? Can you continue to use your space technique? The Flying Star Academy teacher did not want to stay in this damned place for a moment longer. Everyone looked at Yi Qingtang expectantly. No. Yi Qingtang shook her head. Every time I use the space technique, I expend a lot of energy. My energy is almost depleted, and I need time to replenish my reserves again. It will take at least a few days. That's fine too. Lu Yuanxiang nodded. They should be able to survive the next few days if they were careful. The most frightening thing would be if Yi Qingtang could not take them away. As long as they could leave, there was hope for survival. Chapter 2463, Big Trouble 1. The Battle of the Demons was yet to be over. The shouts below were deafening, and the air was gradually stained with the intense stench of blood. Teacher Yi Qing, what should we do now? A moment later, the Flying Star Academy teacher looked at Yi Qing and asked. Arriving at this unfamiliar space, everyone now looked to Yi Qing as their leader. Although they had never come to this strange realm with demons before, it did not mean that Yi Qing had not. After all, Yi Qing knew the space technique. Perhaps he had been to this realm before. Wait. Everyone was taken aback by her words. Given the current situation, shouldn't they find a hidden place to wait for a few days, and then leave this realm after Yi Qing's energy replenished? Wait, what did that mean? Boss, are we going to wait right here? Mu Ziying looked at Yi Qing. Yi Qingtang nodded slightly. Just wait here. Teacher Yi Qing, there is a major battle between demons below. Isn't it too dangerous for us to stay here? Lu Yuanxiang frowned slightly. He could not understand Yi Qing's suggestion. It wasn't that Lu Yuanxiang was afraid of death. It was just that he wanted to protect the lives of these students. Seeing that there was hope for them to live, how could he be willing to wait here for death? There's no hurry. Just listen to me, Yi Qingtang said softly. Upon hearing what Yi Qing said, Lu Yuanxiang and the Flying Star Academy teacher naturally could not say anything else. They could only follow Yi Qing's instructions and stay where they were. Qin Feng, Mu Ziying, and the rest did not doubt Yi Qing at all. Even if Yi Qing asked them to go down and fight those demons, they would not hesitate to do so. Sai, look, those demons are so strong. If I was that strong, I'd be able to do whatever I wanted once I got out of here. Lei Yan laid down on the mountain top, popping his head out to watch the battle below with a serious expression. What a joke! They are so strong solely because they are demons. What makes you think you can compare to a demon? But actually, I really do have a method. Nangong Lai scoffed from the side. What method? Lei Yan asked. That's simple. If you go down now, those demons will definitely skin you and put you on themselves. This way, won't you have the strength of demons? Nangong Lai laughed loudly. Lei Yan let out a cold harumph. How can you say such things? Stop chattering. Lu Yuanxiang glanced at Lei Yan and Nangong Lai with displeasure. If the demons below discovered them, the consequences would be unimaginable. Nangong Lai and Lei Yin tactfully shut their mouths when they saw the displeasure on Lu Yuanxiang's face. After about an hour, the fight between the two sides drifted further and further away, leaving only the corpses of the demons. After another hour, after confirming that all the demons had left, Yi Qingtang stood up and walked down the slope. "Teacher Yi Qing, what are you doing?" Lu Yuanxiang was shocked when he saw Yi Qing walking out. "It's all right. Everyone come down." Yi Qingtang did not even look back. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.